Hello and welcome to the 21st episode of Dystopedia. I'm your host Matt Davidson, and once again I'm joined by my colleague Andrew Hodgson.
How are you, Matt?
Yeah, I'm pretty well. Andrew, yourself?
Yeah, pretty good. What have you been up to?
Nothing much, mate. Just another week and another way of smashing at work. How about yourself?
Yeah, I made much the same. I actually decided to. I bought a Switch. I bought a Nintendo Switch, the first one, but just before the second one came out. So I feel like a bit of a dickhead. But anyway,
Yeah, you don't get GameCube online, mate. Yeah,
No, no.
you're missing out.
but I fired up and started playing Final Fantasy VII.
But throwback to our second episode.
I actually bought it around the time because I hadn't played it since a kid, and I saw you playing it on there. So I got to get me that, and I bought it and just haven't done anything with it. That was like 3 months ago.
Yeah.
But now I'm real hooked into that now. So
Yeah, where are you up to?
Red's hometown or the Canyon place.
Oh, yeah, the Canyon. Yeah.
But no, it's amazing. I mean, it would be
It's 30 years old now.
30 years, but I'm trying to think. I would have been it would have been 25 years ago at least that I'd played that.
It came out in 97, I think.
Yeah.
And
I remember everything. I remember all the muscle memories come back. Like I got Yuffie. I remember exactly where to go to get her and exactly what to do. It's all just
It's funny at such a young when you get so young, like things like that get ingrained in you and it's still there forever. Like it's just it's insane.
I haven't even looked at any guides. I'm like, no, I'm going to try and play it like I was. I haven't looked at any guides yet. So,
oh wow,
but
you're a
it's
trooper.
fucking the muscle memory. That's weird. I can't explain it.
You just know it all.
Yeah.
Oh, and the music too is just like it gets stuck into you, doesn't it? Yeah.
The missus, like, as I was playing it in bed the other day, on the Switch, and then the missus is like, "What the fuck is like? There's just the music going on." She's like, "What the fuck is this?"
Yeah.
Like he wouldn't get it.
And the spinning the sword. It's great.
It's like, why are they? I guess that turn-based combat. Nobody does it anymore. But
yeah, it's gone more like action turn-based now.
But I guess it was like that because the RAM probably couldn't have handled proper combat.
Yeah, or it's kind of like throwback to the old-fashioned like D&D stuff where you roll the dice and you do that.
I'm a big fan of it.
No, it's good fun. No. No, I remember when I played it back in the day, back in like 2020, 2021. And yeah, I remember the soundtrack stuck with me. I remember one of the first things I finished the game, I'd like download all the soundtrack. I was like, oh, this is awesome. So sick.
Yeah, it really is.
Well, I've been, I guess the only exciting thing I've been doing has been rewatching Breaking Bad again. Oh, God. I remember the show being like one of the best of all time, but just watching it again, you're like, oh, this is why this is all-time classic. Just going through it again.
There wouldn't be many shows with better writing than that.
Oh.
Possibly The Wire, but not many more.
No, and just every episode's so tight. It's just everything works so well and it flows and it makes sense. And then you think it's going one direction and they'll throw a spanner in the works and go a different direction. Yeah. No, I'm up to season. Just finished season 3 up to season 4 when when Gus like slits that guy's throat he does it all
calmly and
calmly, and he's just like doesn't say anything, like he's eye contact with him the whole time and does it. You're just like, holy shit, it's just like full like psychopathic behavior. Then he has that facade of being the businessman. Oh, it's so well done.
And he's calm on the surface.
Yeah, that's great. You can see like Bryan Cranston and the guy who plays Jesse. What's his name again?
Aaron something.
Yeah.
Aaron
Paul.
Is it Aaron Paul? This is going to piss me off. Let's Google that.
Yeah, Aaron Paul. Yeah. Yeah. They just have this weird chemistry and stuff, and as in no pun intended, but they work so well together on screen. And my favorite character though is still Hank, the DEA uncle. He's great. He's a bit of a stereotypical cop, which I love.
Yeah, he's a bit of the everyman, and
he's got a bit of John Bonnell in him, so that's what I like.
Oh well, yeah, say no more.
Got to pay homage to the great man.
Yeah. I always liked Gus.
Yeah, no, he's probably one of the best like villains in the TV history. Has to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a great show. I'm kind of like a bit sad, like, 'cause I'm getting towards the end of it, and I'm like, oh, it's one of those shows you watch like 4 episodes in a row, and you're just like, oh, where's the time gone? This is fucking great.
But you know what? Refreshingly, for an American show, they ended on top, didn't they?
Oh,
they left you wanting more, which is the right way to do it.
Exactly. That's
yeah.
No, it ran its course perfectly.
Didn't do what fucking Walking Dead did. It's still fucking going.
Yeah. Oh, is it?
In some form.
Isn't there like 5 spin-offs now or something?
Something like that, yeah.
It's gone.
I can't believe they came off the same network as well.
Yeah, it's going bloody like the Marvel universe, all the bloody spin-offs and movies. And
the writers got so lazy as well.
It's like the Simpsons thing. Stop! It's already dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that. Well, and before we get into today's episode, what beer are we drinking? I know one of our fans gets very upset if we don't mention it.
Yeah,
So,
well, it's the same as last week. You'll be able to know. We're still on the Mountain Goat.
Oh,
So
we said it's like the Commodore, mate. It gets the job done.
it does get the job done.
Yeah.
It's not flashy, but it gets you goes A to B, you know?
A to B, gets you that buzz. Nothing too controversial. Nothing too not pushing the boundaries, but gets the job done.
Yeah.
As you said, so.
Like a Marvel film. Actually, no, that's not.
Don't salt the beer, mate.
Let's not insult the beer. Yeah, sorry.
It's got a bit more nuance to it than a Marvel movie. Well, post Disney Marvel, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, sorry. Another thing before we get into the episode, we're going to try something new today. New segment. We're going to do a bit of a mailbag, bit of listeners' feedback.
You're going to play that shitty jingle?
Oh yeah, let's go. Play it now.
You've got mail.
That's world class, Matt.
Oh,
Call you Dr. Dre.
yeah. Just sign me up to Aftermath, mate. It's coming out soon. Yeah, a bit of a DJ on the side, bit like every good person, they do a bit of DJing, So yeah, a lot of people at our workplace. So yeah, we've got a combination of feedback from people who've emailed us, given us YouTube comments, and then also like on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and stuff. So I'll first go through the YouTube ones. So our first commenter is called 16-Figure Focus, and he commented on our RoboCop episode, we released a couple of weeks ago, and he said, stumbled across this, loved the movie, really enjoyed the conversation. Yeah.
Oh, thank you very much.
And added some, so I'm assuming he's Irish because he added some of the Irish clover leaves.
Oh, okay, yeah, we must be.
Yeah, good luck with the Irish there. So, thank you, mate.
Yeah.
We appreciate the
feedback. We'll take that, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Our next commenter was on the Battle Royale episode, which was a couple months ago, about a month and a half ago, 2 months.
Yeah.
Roughly did that. I think it's episode 12 or 13. I think it's 12, episode 12.
Yeah.
Said sub 30 here. Only a couple minutes into the video and looking at your titles of the other videos uploads, your channel has caught my interest. A topic that I love having deep diving conversations about, but not featuring a broad range of selections, some I know, but more importantly, ones I don't. I think I'm going to enjoy and give the videos a listen. And his name is Rashaya Kawa. So, yeah,
thank you very much.
Thanks for the feedback. Yeah, appreciate that. And I think we went over this one before, but yeah, the Joe Boxing commenter said back on our Threads episode, our very first one, but he only commented this one roughly a month ago saying, excellent podcast. I'm old enough to have seen Threads when it was first shown, and it blew us away. Frankly, it's lost none of its power and remains a vitally important document. Yeah, well, couldn't agree more further with that. And,
yeah, definitely.
And he further went on to say, we responded saying, we appreciate the feedback, thanks for the comments. Then he verbally went on saying, I was either 16 or 17 when it was first broadcast. It's not documented well enough just how realistic a proposition nuclear war seemed at the time. In 1984, it seemed unthinkable that the Cold War would ever end. But 6 years later, it was all over. And then, that's when he went on to recommend that we should do the war game. Yeah. Which we did 2 episodes ago. So that was all for you, Joe Son of Boxing. So, yeah. Yeah, we hope you enjoyed the war game. Haven't heard back from you yet, but give us a comment on that one if you liked it or had some thoughts and feelings on it. Yeah, definitely. We've also had a couple of comments here. One I'll go from probably our number one fan, Chris Cooper. Likes to comment on a lot of videos, but he gave us quite a few recommendations here. This is a comment he made on the Escape from New York episode. Loving the humor and identification of plot holes. Great episode. Thoughts on other episodes, topics, if not already on the list. He actually recommended They Live, which we went on and did. Yeah. We didn't give him the credit for, but here's credit for you, Chris. I've heard on the Grapevine this Chris guy likes a bit of wrestling, so it must be a good bloke. I think he was a big fan of some of the wrestling inserts in 28 Days Later. Yeah, he appreciated that, yeah. Like a bit of Stone Cold in the supermarket, yeah. He went on to recommend THX 1138, Punishment Park, actually, but Peter Watkins. Definitely, that's on the list. Yeah, that was definitely on the list. The Truman Show, a good recommendation. The Lego Movie, I suppose. Yeah, that's an interesting one. Yeah, yeah. Actually, I've never seen the Lego Movie, but I remember you talking about it and describing what it was about. I'm like, you could kind of go in that direction. And it's definitely. I have to watch it again, but from what I gather, that's
That would be an interesting one.
And it'd be funny too to do it for like a kids movie too. That's an interesting take. Yeah.
Very interesting take. A Boy and His Dog, which I believe you mentioned at one stage.
I think it's Harlan Ellison.
Harlan Ellison.
Relevant for today's episode, but yeah.
Relevant, yeah. Clockwork Orange, another good one. High Rise and Max Headroom, 20 Minutes into the Future. So thank you, Chris. We'll add a few of those to the list, and some of them are on the list already. We've also had one here from seems to be a long-time listener, but first-time writer. Elizabeth Lawrence sent us an email. So, hi, big fan of the show. Love how you dig into all kinds of dystopian stories across movies, books, games, and everything in between. I wanted to throw out an episode suggestion, Demolition Man. What a film!
Oh, yeah. I remember watching that on. I think it was I was on my way to America, and it was one of the ones I just selected randomly and watched it. And like, all I remember was the sex scenes through the virtual reality.
Oh, of course you did. Yeah.
For scientific purposes only. Yeah. But yeah, no.
She went on to mention it's peak 90s action. I couldn't agree more. Slow-mo shootouts, snappy one-liners, Stallone and Snipes say no more. But beneath all that fun, there's a surprisingly sharp dystopian edge, a future with no swearing, no physical contact, no flavour, and a creepy corporate sheen over everything safe. I'd love to hear what you think and really hope this makes it into your episode queue. Thanks for all the fantastic work you do. Smiley face. Thank you, Liz.
Yeah, great feedback. Thank you.
Yeah, great feedback. Thank you very much. We will be adding Demolition Man. Keep an eye out for that one soon because
it's coming up soon.
It's coming up soon, and I'm really looking forward to do that one because that was a great film. I just remember all the action, but
I'm keen to really watch it again because I was watching. I was bloody half a jet lagged on a bloody plane, so I'm keen to see it properly.
The great one-liners again. There's some memorable one-liners in that.
So. Have you got Sylvester Stallone in there? Stallone says.
From what I remember though, Matt.
Yeah.
The Demolition Man, John Spartan, I believe his name is. You'll love him because he's a cop that he's rash, he's reckless, he causes a lot of damage, but by God does he get the job done.
That gets me right in the feels there. Oh yes. So would you say that John Bonnell would approve of him?
I think John Bonnell would approve, but I don't know if he would appreciate all the damage that John Spartan does.
Would you say the mayor would be in his ass if he wasn't like that? I've got one more comment, and this is actually from our Instagram page. It's called The Daily Doggies, out of all names. And they've got a picture of a couple dogs there, so that's a nice touch. So he goes, I would love to see what you guys think of Delicatessen, the 1991 French apocalyptic black comedy. Have you ever heard of this?
I've never heard of it.
No, neither. Interesting suggestion. No, we'll definitely add it to the list and give it a watch and dissect it as well. So
we'll keep an eye out for that one in the next few weeks. That'll be interesting.
That'd be good, yeah. Oh, look how arty and crafty we're getting too with subtitles and French film.
If it's French, I hope it's in black and white.
It should be, yeah. Hopefully, it's like shown at some film festival or something,
I hope,
Cannes or something, Yeah. But no, thanks for the feedback, the Daily Doggies. So we appreciate that. And as always, guys, always feel free to send us feedback anytime. Any suggestions, we're happy to go through it. And as you can tell from some of the comments, we've already dissected a few films and media. So
I really appreciate it. Thank you for the comments, and we'll keep dissecting and
continue to march on.
Continue to march on and do our sort of weird brand of, I don't know, analytical dissection and South Park references and
random music quotes.
So there it is.
It was like when we were doing the Road episode a couple of weeks ago, and then we're in a real dark, depressing point, and then Buddy Creed comes on. I'm like, sometimes you need to lighten the mood when you're going down those paths.
Well, we did get Knowles in there first, didn't we?
We did initially, because it was the 19th episode. So.
It was. Yeah, let's not put him in again.
Yeah, exactly. We've run Knowlesy to the ground, haven't we?
Yeah, copyright claims.
And also too. Our podcast, this is being the 21st episode, it can legally drink in America now. So there we go. Yeah, cheers to that. So there we go. Keep going. Well, last week's episode, we did a short little story that was published in the New Yorker called The Lottery by Shirley Jackson. And this week we're going to Repent, Harlequin, Said the Ticktockman by Harlan Ellison. So it's not our first venture into Ellison. We did him back in episode 3, I think, with I Have No Mouth on My Screen. And it's funny, that episode is like kind of the first episode where we felt a bit more comfortable with doing a podcast, didn't we? It was like Yeah.
and we got some. That was one of our. I think we got some really good feedback on that one. That one did really well. I know in sort of in terms of numbers.
So I think it's the most downloaded.
I think it's the most downloaded one.
Besides, like the what is Dystopedia episode, which I'm not a fan of, to be honest.
Yeah, we should redo that one. But anyway, we'll do the re-release.
It's a good measuring stick.
Yeah,
that one.
we'll do the George Lucas on it and re-release it.
Yeah, it's always been like this. Yeah. But a bit like Winston Smith, it, you know.
Yeah, it never happened.
Yeah, I'll have listened to it once again. I cringe half, like, within 2 minutes. I'm like, okay, I've got to turn it off now. I can't handle it.
The ums and ahs, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Before we started editing. But, no, so, yeah, this one, it's good to go back into Ellison again and going through his, you know, some of his other works, where this one's, when you first read it, what did you think of it?
I got to tell you, I struggled with this one. Structurally, I really struggled. I think I think you texted me, said you've read it and you quite liked it, you quite enjoyed it, didn't you?
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
I struggled with it. I think I struggled with the whimsical tone, and whimsical is how I describe it. I don't really know how to say it. It's got this poetic whimsicalness, and structurally it starts at the middle, and I struggled with it. I was very distracted.
It doesn't flow, like, it doesn't link well initially, does it?
No, I really did struggle with it, to be honest with you. I couldn't actually make out the point of it.
Yeah. And first time reading it too, I didn't realise the first section was the civil disobedience.
No, I couldn't. Yeah, I just thought he wrote it.
He wrote it, and I'm reading it, I'm like, where's this going? What's the point of it? Like, I didn't understand. But then when you read it again and then read what the story was about, and it makes sense why he added that in at the start of it. And then like, that's why, and that's why it's all linking. But as you said, on the language he uses, it's very... you can tell the way he wrote it too. He wanted to jolt you as the reader, like catch you off guard, get you like out of your structure, out of your comfort zone, out of your rigidness kind of thing. So it's kind of like, you know, what the message of the whole passage is about, you know, about time and following the rules and regulations and not questioning anything, and you follow the path, where he's gone like there, back and forth kind of thing with it. So it's all done by design to, like, you know, grab the reader's attention in a weird way, or get them thinking in an obscure way. Yeah.
Well, I think it's the whole structure of the story is a kind of a middle finger to the world that it's in, right? It's I guess it's a hyper regimented future. You know, I guess where being late is a crime, and I guess conformity and time obedience and that kind of crushing grip of authoritarian control. This is well, first it's kind of a fuck you to that system.
It is. Yeah.
It's structurally the way it's written and the language it's used and where it starts and where it finishes, and it's the whole thing is. Yeah, I found it. I gotta say, I found it really hard to begin with. But then on second or third read, I'm like, all right, I understand the point of this now. But you know, hopefully I'm not alone with that. You know.
Yeah. Because I remember when I first read, because the first bit too, because obviously there's that massive passage from civil disobedience. Then it goes into, like, you know, this is the heart of it. Now begin in the middle, and then later we learn the beginning. So that he's really catching off. And then I remember first 2-3 pages, I'm like, I don't know what he's going on about. Then he's talking about vulgar ostentation and anarchy and all this. You know, where's this going? Yeah. Who's our characters? What's the plot? But then
to use a quote from Blazing Saddles.
God darn it, Mr. Lamar, you use your tongue prettier than a $20 whore.
It's not until the point. So when I was reading through it, it wasn't to the point when they started describing like the Ticktockman himself, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is what really gripped me. You know, he's like this big authoritarian guy, and he rules time with an iron fist, and the whole system has to follow his direct way of being, you know, perfectly on time and structure and a purpose behind it, and then you must complete A to B within this restriction. So, and then when you start going through it, but then you'll throw another spanner in the works, and then you start talking about jelly beans and shit. It's like, where are we going again now? I don't know. Yeah. What's this got to do with the plot and the story? But then, as you read a second time, and then you know where it's going, what the whole purpose of it is, like, now I know. It makes sense now.
It sort of fucking punches you in the face, doesn't it? And
yeah.
You go, whoa.
It does. But then, then you said, like, when you read it a couple of times, and like he'll use weird descriptions of things like you know, like wagga 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 or something, like really like some cheesy cartoon character or something, you know, like you see on like Saturday morning or something, you know. It was one of those kind of connotations to it. But no, that's very well written. Very the theme behind it. You can tell it's definitely designed to criticize the way like a society in a structure is functions, right? That seems to be the whole point of it. And telling people stop just going along with the flow and question it, and then, you know, don't take everything for granted. Don't like just assume that this is the way it has to be always. If you know, if you don't enjoy it, kind of thing, right?
Yeah, and I think that's, you know, some context on Harlan Ellison. Look, I think we've already done a deep dive of Harlan Ellison, so if you haven't listened to it already, I'd probably say go back and listen to I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream.
Yeah.
You know, so we did a deep dive on him from here, so we don't really want to repeat ourselves on that. You can go back and listen to that. But in reading about him, from what I gather with Harlan Ellison, he actually despised the traditional 9-to-5 lifestyle. So he viewed that itself as like a form of conformity and kind of what you'd say soul death. All these things come up with, like what I was saying about Ray Bradbury when he would say, if you're doing, like, I'd recommend suicide if you were doing something you didn't enjoy and doing that from 9 to 5 every day, you know?
Yeah.
I think even with you were saying last week or the other week with Cormac McCarthy as well.
It's funny, all these like genius writers have the same kind of connotation when it comes to this 9 to 5 structure. They hate it with a passion.
Well, I guess it
stifles creativity.
It takes away critical thinking, and it's almost the anti-creativity, isn't it? Yeah, but you know, he.
So we saw that too in our Battle Royale episode with the Japanese, where they're treating their kids with their, you know, structure has to be discipline, and you follow the rules and regulations. There's no creativity. There's no thinking outside the square. This is the rule, and then you're seeing the backlash of the students of the 90s, right? Similar kind of themes to it.
Yeah, exactly right. It's not natural for us.
No.
I say we'll get into that a bit later, but
yeah, and also too, he kind of wrote this at a time too in what was the mid 60s, right, when it's going hype. It's at the pinnacle of this, you know, the civil rights movement, anti-war protests were going on, big cultural shift, cultural change. You're seeing the hippie movement pop up, so the Britpop invasion of America. All these things are changing, and people are, you know, rebelling against the system, especially too with the Vietnam War really taking off as well.
Yeah.
So we're starting to see that, and then it's kind of saying basically, you know, resistance is better than being a silent accomplice within this, you know, the kind of thing. So you can definitely see that's pushed throughout the whole short tale, hasn't it?
Yeah, and he's got a long history of you know, certain essays. Like he didn't, I wouldn't say he frequently used the phrase 9 to 5, but you know, there's certain essays. He had one called The Glass Teat and The Other Glass Teat. They're filled with critiques of conformity, routine, and the soul-crushing nature of sort of social expectations. So a lot of papers he actually focused on how television acts as a tool of control. So it kind of brings back to what Peter Watkins was saying at the time as well.
Yeah,
how they kind of normalize the 9 to 5 grind. They promote obedience, and they're sort of discouraging deviation from prescribed norms. So this is where, I guess this is that point where, like, they don't want the mind to go wandering at all. It's all about being punctual, and everyone becomes time obsessed, and everyone's going to be late. Everyone's going to be early, or if you're not 15 minutes early, you're already late. It's everyone's just obsessed with time.
Yeah,
and he was seeing that. You almost feel like now we've gone completely the other way, where we're all obsessed with time, but now time is like the barometer. It doesn't matter what you're producing, but how many meetings have you got? It's time. There's nothing being done because everyone's in fucking meetings. But, but that's all right. If you just appear busy, that's okay, you know?
Yeah,
it's like, but nothing's getting done. We're having a fucking meeting to have another meeting to have another meeting, and you what the fuck?
Yeah. How do you find time, like, in general? Like, are you a person that responds best to, like, I wake up at this time in the morning, I go to work at this time, I do this at this time, like structure? How do you react well to it, or you need that creativity and that, like, freedom, I guess?
I can go through phases, but I can almost rebel and just crack. I'm like, fuck, this is annoying me. Like, it can seemingly all be okay because I'm a rep. I'm on the road. I've got my calendar filled out a month in advance because that's what I have to do. But I can sort of be regimented for a few weeks, and you get that feeling of like, right, I've done everything I need to do, and everything's fine. But I get to a point like, I don't want to do this. This is. It's like there's almost something to me. I need to rebel here. I need to just change it up because I can't just keep doing this.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go mad. I'm gonna hit something. I'm gonna. It's like, What about you?
Oh, I hate to admit it, but I'm very much time and structure based person. Like I didn't realize it until I had a job where I had a bit of creative freedom, and I didn't like it. I kind of like this is the task you do. You wake up at this time. Like, I'll have the same meal every morning. I have the coffee at the same time. I have my breaks. I like to know when my breaks are, when my lunch break is. Right. I like to know, okay, now I can go to the gym, or now's the time. Like, I'm bad. Like, at nighttime, it'll be like, yeah, dinner's at this time, and that means I'll watch an hour of TV, and then I'll have a break here, and then I'll do research here. Then I'll be in bed by 10 to then read my book, and then I'll be asleep by. I'm like that. I'm one of those. I know it's bad, and I hate that I'm like that, but I just respond better to it.
It's comforting, right?
It kind of gives you like I a list and you tick it off, and then it feels like you accomplished something by following the regiment and the routine.
Yeah.
But then I'm always looking forward to the weekend where I can do fuck all, or like where there's no structure.
Yeah.
So it's one of those weird things. But I've always found, and I think even my family said to me, like when I was growing up, like, oh, I always responded well to when I knew exactly what my role was, my purpose was, and then you go from there.
Yeah.
So I unfortunately am a slave to time and to structure.
Yeah. I mean, I say it I will rebel from time to time, but it's always been drummed into me as a kid that the worst thing you could ever do is was be late.
Yeah, no, it's ultimate sign of disrespect.
My dad would I'll be smacked. You're late. That's fucking the worst thing you could do. That was like drummed into me, So I've always got this thing, which is good, right?
Yeah,
because you see a lot of sort of tardiness in life, right? But I think that's just common decency, right? If you're gonna be somewhere, be there on time, right?
Well, say like you have to be somewhere at say 9 o'clock. I'd rather get there at 8:30 than arrive at like right on 9. That stress of like, oh, what if I'm late kind of thing. It's just easy to go. No, I'll be safe. Get there early.
Well, I'll be like, see, if I'll be flying somewhere or something, no matter where, I could be going to Europe. I could be going to I don't know, in Melbourne. It's an hour away. But I'll still like I'll go to bed at night, and I'll still dream that, or I'll be anxious that I haven't set my alarm or something, or that fear of like running late to the airport. Or I am obsessed with time, I guess.
Yeah. There's something about like our parents' generation about like, oh, you got to get to the airport 6 hours before the flight. You're like, I don't get there that early, but it's like the airport doesn't open at that time in the morning, Dad. Yeah. It is interesting. Like, because it's funny because time's like kind of like if someone asked you what's the most valuable thing, people always think of money and love and that kind of shit. But then when you think about it more like thoroughly and like what's the real most valuable thing, it is time, right? What you have, because it's a thing that you can't change. It doesn't stop. It doesn't wait for you. It just continues on. And no matter what happens, the world will always keep spinning. The time will keep passing by. So, and the fact that in this world and in this society, within this world, that someone is an overmaster of it and can control it and then limit it based on lack of discipline, lack of efficiency. Yeah, so it's a bit of a...
They talk about having everyone's got a cardio plate.
Yeah.
I think it's I suppose just controls your heart. It can be switched on or off.
Yeah.
You'd be terminated,
Yeah, a bit like in Battle Royale, when the necklace, right? Where you don't follow the rules, bang, you're gone. So similar kind of connotation to that, yeah. Because I think later in the tale it does say that one guy tried to run away, and then when he wasn't on time, when he wasn't at his extermination meeting, they just switched it off and he just died.
Yeah.
So the old timekeeper, the Ticktockman doesn't muck around.
No, he's not here to fornicate with arachnids, is he?
He is not. No.
It's interesting, the whole thing with I guess time and money. I guess we always think of Benjamin Franklin's phrase, "Time is money," which 1748. I believe, but it captured that mindset of that. It was the Industrial Revolution that kind of sparked this into life, because as I say, we've never known anything else, have we?
No.
But for millennia, time just sort of moved in natural cycles. It wasn't this 8-hour day. It keeps reminding me they live, sleep 8 hours, work 8 hours, play 8 hours, sleep 8 hours. It's kind of like that whole, it's, I guess it was the first and second industrial revolution where kind of the factory work required, I suppose, strict scheduling. And then like standardized time and punctuality became socially and morally enforced by sort of the 19th and 20th century. So I guess we would know nothing else, would we? It's just the way it's always been. But I think it goes a long way to describing, I think, a lot of the depression, anxiety and stuff among people, because you get that feeling that like we're not supposed to be like this. Like if you think about like, I guess, human nature, the way we evolve, we live by natural flexible rhythms. Like time wasn't something that you kind of owned or anything.
Well, I think the first time, because I think even in the 19th century, there was no really official time zones and time locations. It was all about where you were in that particular town or suburb, wherever it is. I think it wasn't until the railroads were invented in like 1840, 50, was when actually, no, we need to know what the time is at this particular location and time for when the train arrives. Because that's when it finally became this mega kind of system that got in place around worldwide. It was through the creation of the railroads, where before time was very relative to where you were and what you were doing. Like it's in like where the sun was, basically.
Well, that's what I say. For hundreds of thousands of years, we sort of lived by natural cues. So sunrise, sunset, seasonal changes, body rhythms. So we slept when we were tired. We ate when we were hungry. or when we just when we needed the energy. It wasn't sort of. I guess it was fluid. It wasn't. Nobody owned it. I guess it was separate to what we were. It's. If you think of the ancient and indigenous cultures, they kind of followed what you'd say like cyclical models of time. So day and night, moon phases, planting and harvest seasons. A whole life kind of revolved around that, and you couldn't control that. But
I think even like in Australia, the indigenous Aboriginal culture, I think they have like what's it called, dream time, where it wasn't about like a time isn't just the past, but it's like reality that exists along the present and the future. So it's like all like you were touching on what other cultures had, like it's all about the present and the things. It's all here and now kind of thing, as opposed to like, oh no, this was yesterday, and then tomorrow will be tomorrow. Yeah.
It's we're not hardwired to be like this. I mean, because back then there was no sense of what we would receive as like wasting time. I don't think it's any. You mentioned the weekends, so sort of doing fuck all. I'm knowing you. I imagine there would be a level of guilt with that, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, there is.
But there shouldn't be, like, because I guess there's no sense. There was no sense back in the time of actually wasting time because nobody owned time. It wasn't sold or optimized, but it's almost like drummed into us. Because I did the same thing. I'll do nothing, but I think it's almost because I probably need to do nothing.
Yeah,
but you don't. We always feel like we have to achieve something, don't we? And I think that's just years and years of just.
Oh, it's been ingrained
into us,
Well, it's even the concept of like, oh, I'm in my 20s now, so therefore I must be doing X, Y, and Z. And then in my 30s, I need to be married with kids and blah, blah, blah. And then in my 40s, I'll have this and this, and I'll have my promotion. And it's like all these paths we think we have to follow by this certain period of time and what age we're at, where in the grand scheme, like when you think about it not logically, but when you think about it, like, oh, but at this present time, do I feel like this or do I feel like doing that? It's like, well, I don't know. Like it's just, but then I assume because I'm in this age group in this time period, I have to be doing that. Yeah, it's that kind of thing as well.
Yeah, and that's what I mentioned before. Like I think because our body still operates on these natural rhythms that we're hardwired with, we still operate on that. But like I guess the industrial and digital schedules, they kind of ignore these, and I think this is what leads, I guess, sleep disorders, fatigue and stress. I've always spoke about mental health issues. I think our natural biology is in constant conflict with that imposed mechanical time, and I think it all goes back to really the industrialization of the 18th and 19th century, when I guess clocks replaced sun and seasons, and I guess factory bells told you when to start, eat, and stop. So like you might not be hungry, but it's lunchtime, so it's time to eat.
Oh,
we all. That, yeah. I don't think we really need 3 meals a day, but
no.
we do because that's just what you do, right?
Yeah, exactly.
we all do it,
No, definitely.
And I think it was around this period in the 18th and 19th century when time became, I guess it wasn't owned by you anymore. It was sort of owned by your boss.
Yeah.
It's hard to get your head around it. I guess you didn't live in it. You were sort of disciplined by it. It's.
I guess too, with the luxuries of modern life, we kind of have more. I wouldn't say you've got more time, but you got more because we've got more like comforts now. Where like living not like I know some people are living like day to day, but like not in the same way of like I'll go starving kind of. Especially in the Western world, right? It's pretty much like you'll get your basic food, your basic intake. Maybe I'll be struggling to pay the bills and stuff. That's a different story. But like, it's not like be like, oh no, I need to go to the factory because otherwise my family are going to starve. Or like like the most as long as you're considered luxury if you were just like you had your daily meal and your family looked after. That was considered like a luxury. Now that's just commonplace, right? With the evolvement of the species, but now with this kind of thing, we've now got more time and to ponder and think about. We start overthinking things and questioning things and come up with ways of trying to solve things that we don't need to solve. And
it shouldn't. It's I guess it's that's the. It's just I think we're in conflict with the software or the hardware in our head. We just Well,
we're the only species that we know of at this time. It could be out there. Where's the X-File music? But yeah, we're aware of our existence, and we're aware of like that we've had it before, and we've got an expiry date too. So we know we're going to die one day, and that we're here for a limited time. Where a lot of other creatures, they just live in the moment, where we don't. Yeah, we're always thinking about the past or the present or the future.
I think we're supposed to.
Yeah.
I think we're supposed to, and that's Well, I don't know. I really appreciate this story. I wrote about how hard it is to read, but for taking us down this rabbit hole. Because I've never ever thought about time like this before.
Yeah, I was asking the AI about are we as humans slaves to time? And it kind of said like time gives your life shape, but that shape can feel like a prison. You're free to choose what to do within time, but never to escape it. In that way, humans are both the architects and prisoners of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's AI saying that, but like it's very true, that paradox of it. You're just like, yeah, like we got this freedom to do what we want without time, but then we still know it's still chained to it. We're still like, we can't escape it, we can't pause it, we can't maneuver it, we can't manipulate it. It's continuous. Until they invent time travel, we can't do anything about it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So I guess like before we get into it, we'll get into like why Ellison wrote it. His quote is saying that the story was a cry against the regimentation of life. So that was directly what he said. So definitely, like he was critical of what he saw as an increasingly rigid, time-obsessed, and conformist society. So, you know, as we touched on earlier, you know, everyone clocks in at 9, does this, they have their lunch break at 12, and then their afternoon break and the morning tea and stuff like that, and then home by this time and dinner on the table at 6, kind of thing. So yeah, he didn't like people blindly just following the rules and regulations and schedules. He felt like it cost people their individuality and their freedom of choice and critical thinking in a way too.
Yeah.
So, but then I think like where I kind of agree with him in that way, but then I think as a whole, some people need some people, like for him personally it might not work, but for a lot of people it does work, and that's why we have these systems in place. Otherwise, it's fucking would be anarchy, wouldn't it? Like it would fall apart. We always need some form of structure.
Sometimes it feels like that. I definitely sit there and question, as we all do. I think sometimes, what the fuck? What am I doing? Why are we doing this? Particularly as I mentioned before, when you're just sitting there and it doesn't feel like anything's ever getting done, and you're just having meetings.
You're having a meeting for the sake. You're having a meeting to discuss when the next meeting will be.
And like, what are we doing? Is this just to keep us distracted so it's not carnage and we're not raping and murdering, like doing the things we'd fucking do if we went back to our animalistic ways. Like, is that what this is? Is that the point of this? You know?
Well, the kind of like the conspiracy theory me goes like, well, is the reason why we have like sports around the world is to distract us so that we don't turn to ultimate violence with like, you know, the us against them. Like, is it the best way to conceal it?
Well, have you ever heard the term? Bread and circuses.
Yeah, isn't it like something to do with like the Roman Empire or something?
It goes back to Roman Empire. To a poet at the time, believe his name by the name of Juvenal. So I don't know if that's where the
name Juvenal
comes from.
Probably,
but that was his name. But the whole concept, he would say, the lower class. And we see bread and circuses. It's mentioned in this story because they mentioned about obviously the way they see the Harlequin, which is different to the high class, but it's basically the political strategy of providing superficial appeasement, such as free food and entertainment, to distract the populace from greater issues and maintain support. So it's coming to, so basically the concept is sort of, if you meet people's basic needs, so if you meet their basic needs, so either they're entertained and fed, they're less likely to question or challenge those in power. So that's the point of it. And as I say, the cynic in me sits there thinking, I wonder if it's all linked.
Yeah. Well, actually, the first time both you and me are into sport, and we watched it a lot and enjoy it. And yeah, the first time I really questioned, is sport really relevant? Like, relevant's probably the wrong word. Is sport really like the most important thing? And like life and death is when when COVID happened and it all just shut everything down. Yeah, it kind of like emphasized too that when at the end of the day, it's still like it's two teams agreeing to play within the rules of something. Like it's not like during World War I, World War II, they stopped all sport because that was the more pressing, important thing to do. So at the end of the day, when it comes down to life and death, sport's not amongst it. Yeah. And it made me really go, I never thought of it in that light before, because I've always just been obsessed with it. Like,
to paraphrase Bill Shankly, who used to manage Liverpool, as you'd probably know, football is not a matter of life and death. I can assure you that it's much more important than that.
Somebody said the football's a matter of life and death to you. I said, listen, it's more important than that.
Maybe a bit hyperbole, but all right, yeah.
I don't know, I can buy into it.
Yeah, but that's always, I understand there's a lot of tribalism in it, but if your country's being invaded, it's not, at the end of the day, it's not important, is
it?
Yeah. Yeah, I think the Blitz of Britain was a bit more important than Liverpool winning the league, or was it not?
I don't know. Yeah. They probably wouldn't have given a shit in the South.
Yeah. But, no, it's, no, it makes you think, like in that way, because like it's a very good quote, that one about the from was it Juvenal, was it? Yeah,
poet by the name of Juvenal. Yeah,
Juvenal. Yeah. It's said like it's one of those things where you think to yourself, am I being manipulated by enjoying this, or like is it just a big LARP to make sure that I'm not, questioning the things, or
is it meeting my needs in the present so I don't worry about the future?
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like which just fucking buys into human it's the human condition, right?
Yeah, and also too, like because you go, oh, I can name like every player from every team, from the top to the bottom. But then if someone asked me, oh, what is your tax bracket and blah, blah, blah for this and this policy, I'd be like, oh, I've got no fucking idea. Who's your local councillor? It's like, well, what's going to affect your life more directly? Your team winning on the weekend or like the local election doing this? Like it's...
on the weekend.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, it is one of those things. But anyway, back to
Stay on target.
Back on target, yeah. Back to our Mr. Harlequin here, but... Mr. Ellison. I guess another thing I think we touched on earlier too. Big part of it was there's a lot of counterculture at the time in the '60s, the anti-war movement, civil rights movement, etc. And he was also a critique of the worship of efficiency. He hated society's obsession with punctuality and productivity, and doing this at the expense of humans as well. Pushing people doing the 14-hour sawmill shifts and stuff.
I guess we become like. Our bodies become cogs in a machine, basically, don't we?
Yeah, cogs in a machine, yeah. And we're just serving a bigger machine, and not really we're just not even questioning it and just following it aimlessly, and it's not really giving us any purpose. Like on your deathbed, you're just gonna say, oh, I clocked in and clocked out for 40 years, and then got my pension and died, basically.
Yeah. I think it's this point you probably bring up the old Mark Twain quote, eh?
Oh yeah, Jesus Christ, yeah.
Which I don't know if it was. Is it paraphrased? Was it confirmed that he said that? I think it was paraphrased or something. Or
I think he did say this one, but the other one that people think he said but they're not sure was history doesn't repeat, it rhymes.
Yeah.
But people don't know that directly was him, but they credit to him. But they definitely credit this one to him. But yeah, but the quote is, men die at 27, but they bury him at 72.
Fuck.
Yeah.
When you told me that
hits right home, doesn't it?
Oh, fucking hell.
I know, it's like, you have all these dreams and aspirations and goals, and you think you're going to solve the world's problems, and then get to the realities of the machine and get in, and when you get involved with it, then it's like, oh, yeah, no, I'm just going to be doing this for
just throw it in, you're a cog, that's it.
Throw the towel in.
You're morally dead.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, don't fight it. You just go along with it. It's the easier thing to do.
It's very grim.
Yeah.
You didn't come onto this podcast for positivity. So
yeah, being uplifted,
Hopefully that made you feel better.
Yeah. I guess what plays into that too, when we're talking about the worship of efficiency and punctuality, is kind of like defending people's individualism and creativity. So like he wanted to use the Harlequin as like a symbol to like illustrate, go against the grain, stay up, don't fall. Oh, you have to be at work by 9 o'clock. No, fuck that. Go suit yourself. Go see the world. Go and explore. It's a bit similar to actually Ian Forster. When he's a bit of a naturalist. He wanted to go out and see the world and experiencing, not be stuck in his little bubble, going around just doing what everyone else does. So,
in fact, it's interesting you mentioned Ian Forster because there's a couple of things he talks about. I think something like I think you mentioned like the World Wide Web or something in the show. There's quite a lot of foresight in this as well.
Absolutely.
Not as much as fucking
Nostradamus over there.
Yeah, not as much as that. But yeah, there are a few things that I think he talks about the Wide Web or something like that, where they broadcast them on television.
Yeah,
which is very very similar today.
Yeah, I guess, and I think we touched on it earlier too. I guess like kind of like the last kind of point, he wanted to challenge the reader critically, like basically saying that's why he's written it in this weird way where it's a bit all over the shop, very non-linear. It's just going from point A to point D, then back to B, then up to A again. Like
probably wants to make you read it again as well, right?
Yeah, he wants you to and take it in, and then he wants as the author, he wants to be the Harlequin, disrupting the way we would read something. That's the purpose of the short story.
It's like a fucking Tarantino did with his films.
Yeah, like that actually. Yeah. I didn't think of that way actually. Interesting point. Yeah, definitely.
Which that sort of we're used to it now because you've seen them so many times. But at the time, I've never seen a film like this.
Oh yeah. When you first watch Pulp Fiction, you're like, oh Jesus, it throws you sparrow in the work, doesn't it? So, yeah, he definitely invokes that because, as we said earlier, when we were reading it, you're a bit like, oh, wait, what's going on here? We're here, then we're over there, and then now we're back to here again. And he's talking about, using cartoonish bloody language and
jelly beans and
like the evil villain twirling his mustache like, knack, 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 or something like that. It's like that. You're like, oh, okay, yeah.
This is odd.
This is very odd.
Yeah. It almost feels a bit drama kid at school, doesn't it? Sometimes.
Yeah, it does. A bit like that. Yeah, it does. It does invoke that.
Just to touch on before we get into maybe a bit of the political climate in 1965. So, look, the Gulf of Tonkin, so that's incident where America had to go and happened in 1964.
Oh yeah, it's a must.
But America, it was their first sort of. It was in 1965 represented the first major U.S. troop deployment. So I think it was about over 180,000 soldiers were in there by the end of the year. But we talked about counterculture before, but there was a public growing distrust of the war. It was seen as imperialist. A lot of people didn't understand why they were there or what they were doing or why they were meddling in other countries' affairs. We know it was domino theory. They didn't want communism spreading, and we can all accept that. But a lot of it sparked like mass anti-war protests. So counterculture, young students, all that kind of stuff. I think there was the Selma to Montgomery marches in March 1965. So they protested the black voter suppression in Alabama. And then it was actually Bloody Sunday happened as well. So actually peaceful marches were beaten on Edmund Pettus Bridge as well. And this brutality, I guess we can call it police brutality, was televised.
So first time people seeing it.
A lot of people are seeing it and seeing sort
very
of
graphic.
Yeah, graphic, and they were kind of seeing a systematic failure or a systematic. They were sort of seeing like systematic injustice, right?
Yeah.
The Voting Rights Act was passed in 1965 as well, so they banned literacy tests, poll taxes, and what you would say is like other voting practices. I had to look into this a bit further, so I guess you had to take a literacy test to actually vote back at the time, and you had to pay a poll tax to do it. So whilst it wasn't aimed at African Americans, it kind of was institutionally.
Talk about only the elite can vote.
Only the elite can vote, but a lot of African Americans at the time and stuff were obviously in the
because they were persecuted. They were they were disadvantaged from they were given no rights before. They had no chance. The system was rigged against them.
The system was rigged against them. So, but it was just sort of it had racial undertones. So a lot of them couldn't read. A lot of people couldn't afford to pay these poll taxes to vote. So they were kind of kept out of it.
Oh, the game was rigged from the start.
The game was rigged. Yeah. But I think Lyndon Johnson had. He'd passed the Voting Rights Act, so he banned all that, and they could now vote, but it caused massive outrage as well. So it was the whole time was just it was like a powder keg, really.
Oh yeah, no, it was. I know, like recently we've had like where America is at the moment with a lot of tensions going on, like, but it's not. This is not a new thing to America. It's happened like back in the '60s. A lot of assassinations happened. A lot of like very unsettling times. You're seeing presidential candidates, the president, political figures being killed left, right, center. So like it's not. It was definitely like it felt like civil war could break out at any point, and like
I guess it's kind of always felt like that, hasn't it?
Yeah, to a certain degree.
Yeah,
I mean the Civil War was never really like, it was obviously the Union, the North won like pretty decisively, but then it was never like really the South were never really like punished to the point where they were like was beaten out of them that kind of mentality.
They essentially kind of felt like two countries anyway, didn't they, at the time?
Oh yeah. Well, you think too, the continent of the United States is a big landmass and a lot of people, a lot of territory. It's almost impossible to have everyone agree on the same thing. Like in the grand scheme of things, it shouldn't really be a whole country in a way, right?
How do you even govern it?
It's what 400 million people or something. It's insane how big it is.
Oh, it is. It is. Yeah.
No, it was
and actually, just even mention, like, although we seem to speak about Senator McCarthy quite a lot. He died in 1957. Obviously, this came out in 1965, but a lot of that paranoia he caused actually lingered in this time.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
So,
they felt the effects of it,
so the HUAC, or the House Un-American Activities Committee, was still active at this time. They were still investigating suspected communists. Blacklist, self-censorship, it all still continued in Hollywood, in academia, in the media. And there was still that culture of fear, obedience, and conformity. But I think that was more to do with the Cold War, wasn't it? But this was all all came off the back of, I guess, McCarthyism, didn't it?
Oh, yeah.
And
in fact, we still talk about McCarthyism, like, still to this day. Shows how much of an impact it had on the, living legacy of America.
Oh,
fear of it.
I mean, there's a whole thing of, like, conformity really became normalized. Now, we spoke about this last week we're talking about the lottery, and I guess with Shirley Jackson and how she was an social outcast and everything. Yeah, you got to think. I mean, he's made Harlan Ellison exactly the same. I think there's a reason why we probably we'd never really heard of these authors prior to doing this. I mean, look, I'd heard of Harlan Ellison because I'd heard of like I Have No Mouth on My Screen because I went down some YouTube rabbit hole, but
that one did kind of make it to the zeitgeist, and but the rest don't. But
but I think there's a reason why these were
kind of suppressed.
At the time that they they came out. It was I don't think it's any coincidence.
No, definitely no. It was crazy too. You know, he wrote this within in a 6-hour period. This whole story. Yeah. Now I was like, holy crap! Like he's got such an eccentric brain to do something like that, and and the way it flows, and like he's just like he obviously like a one of those geniuses, right?
Like a mad genius.
Mad genius. I can just do something like that. It's unbelievable. Yeah, so it was published in 1965 in the science fiction magazine called Galaxy, and it won the 1965 Nebula Award for Best Short Story. So, and then in 1966 it won the Hugo Award for Best Short Story too. So, and also the story made the Prometheus Hall of Fame Award in 2015. So it's been immortalized in a way. So it's good to hear. We talked briefly about how Ellison loves to sue things and loves to sue wherever he can. Apparently in 2011, he filed a lawsuit in the federal court in California claiming that the plot of the 2011 film In Time, which features one of the best musicians turned actors of all time in Justin Timberlake.
Justin Trouser Snake.
God, he's a shit actor, Justin Timberlake.
He's a shit actor.
Oh, I mean, he was good. Even in Social Network,
he wasn't great, was he?
He just felt like he was trying to act too hard, you know?
Yeah. The man wrote Senorita, for fuck's sake. Leave him alone.
Yeah, and Cry Me a River, yeah.
We're not dropping those songs in.
Then, and, because, anyway, and then also it's got,
Sorry.
So the film's it's got Justin Timberlake and Amanda Seyfried, is her name? Seyfried?
Yeah.
She's a chick from Mean Girls, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And apparently, so basically he was saying that the same premise and, set in a dystopian future and got the times controlled and this stuff. You could maybe say it was an influence.
Have you seen it?
No, I've never seen it.
Yeah, I watched it. I mean, the concept I kind of liked, but yeah, it doesn't really have a lasting effect. I've never felt like I've had to watch it again. From what I gather, I think the only thing I can really time is currency in the film. So I guess,
but it's a bit of a like universal subject. You can't really say, "Oh, that was my idea."
No, I think so too. Yeah, I don't think you can.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, initially, the suit they demanded an injunction against the film's release, though Ellison later altered his suit to instead ask for a screen credit to get his name there. But then ultimately he decided to drop the suit. Both sides are releasing the following joint statement. After seeing the film In Time, Harlan Ellison decided to voluntarily dismiss the action. No payment or screen credit was promised or given to him.
He probably didn't want to put his name on it.
Yeah, don't blame him. He probably saw this because, oh, fuck, I'm going to avoid this like the fucking plague. Yeah. It was something like, The Godfather or something. I'm sure he would have been put harder. That's why he probably sued Terminator.
Yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah.
And the parties wished each other well and have no further comment on the matter. So that meant to a point like, you got no fucking purpose, mate. You just kind of, he just loves another, just throwing any kind of lawsuit he can.
He liked antagonising a bit, didn't he?
Yeah, definitely in his nature, isn't it? Yeah. Anything else you want to add before we get into the actual story itself?
No. Let's dive
into it.
Yeah, dive into it. And I think the best place to start is probably with the start of it, with the civil disobedience.
Oh yeah. So with civil disobedience, because I missed this completely at the start when I first read it. Yeah, and not until I reread it and then saw the little connotation at the bottom saying, Henry David Thoreau, civil obedience at the bottom. Then I realised, it's referencing this thing. So I'm going to go a bit Inception on us. So I'm going to go to a reference within a reference. So, I know, yeah. I'm going to make everyone, I'm going to be like Christopher Nolan, make all these weird subplots, make no sense, but make me feel like a genius by figuring them out.
You could go John Carpenter's Ghost of Mars. There's a flashback within a flashback within a flashback.
I think we're going towards that, actually, yeah. So for those that don't know, civil disobedience was like a resistance to civil government that was written in 1849. And this was at the height of the US-Mexican war that was going on. And it was basically like a rebellious thing about, the core argument was against, individuals to prioritize their conscience over obedience to unjust government, basically. He believes that citizens have a moral duty to resist laws or policies that violate justice, even if it means breaking the law. He famously states within this that the government is best which governs least, advocating for minimal government interference and personal lives. Ideally, government should respect individual autonomy and justice. but when it fails, people must act according to their principles. So you can see that, yeah, it's more about like, a war's going on, and like, why are we fighting this war? It makes no sense. It's like what we see, during the Iraq War, when people think this is stupid. Why are we doing this kind of thing? So, and this was back in 1849. Now, to go into our second part of Inception, what he was referencing is the Mexican U.S. Civil War. And I didn't really know much about the American
I didn't know much, a lot at all.
I heard about it on the grapevine. I knew it was over Texas, but I didn't fully understand the whole premise of it. So I did a bit more research into that. So for people that don't know, I think it was in 1835, 1836, the US annexed Texas, and it declared that Texas was its own country, independent country from Mexico in 1836 there. And this obviously upset the Mexicans a lot, and they didn't recognize the state of Texas and viewed it as like a hostile act, basically. And the border was like located between, where Texas is and where the Mexican border is today, it's called the Nucas River. And what was the ultimate leading point was a fight broke out in 1846, and then the US generals then decided to declare that they will annex Texas itself and then make Texas become part of the greater, the United States of America, become of that. And the reason why they wanted that to happen was because there was a big thing back then about, it's called the Manifest Destiny. So they viewed that everything westward of, from New York onwards should be all American territory and greater expansion and influence of the region. This is our continent, our belonging. And they were also very worried about, because Britain apparently had some trade within Texas as well. They're worried about Britain taking over and having a footmark there and blocking them from further expansion. So that's why they admitted that. And what's important for the reference to civil disobedience was that the issue of slavery played a big role, where Texas was admitted as a slave state as part of the United States of America.
Yeah, this is one I struggle to get my head around, because it wasn't exactly fertile land for anything for slaves to operate, say, cotton or anything, was it?
No.
Was it more for influence?
Yeah, it's influence.
Yeah. This was
also about politics, isn't it? Yeah, so you got another slave state on your side, and it makes sense that would be a slave state in geography where it's located amongst the other slave states. Louisiana and stuff. So where a lot of those cotton plantations were, because Louisiana is next to Texas there, so that would make sense there. And so yeah, it was basically a lot of it was ego, pride. And
he was quite, from what I've read. So having a little bit of a look too with the Mexican, was it President James Polk? He was quite gung-ho. He's very aggressive. He's very different from very pro-slavery, wasn't he? So he didn't piss about. He opportunist, and he went for it, didn't he?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. As I said earlier, too, they're worried about the British influence in the territory. They didn't want Britain involved anywhere. And then obviously Mexico always felt like it was still part of their territory, which I mean technically it probably was. Yeah. So I don't blame them. But then the US army was far superior, and then they just slaughtered, and they won pretty easily the war. It only went for about 2 years, and they won it pretty easily. And that's when Texas officially then became part of the United States.
It was California went as well, didn't it?
Yeah,
New Mexico, which I don't think I ever knew that California was once part of it. It's so interesting.
It's funny how all these little things happen and stuff. And it is funny with US history, all these little like sliding doors moments, like I think it's called like the Louisiana Exchange. The French controlled Louisiana, and they signed some deal which gave them control of it, and they didn't realize that how fertile the land was, and they lost all this wealth from it, like the influence there. And similar with Alaska.
Yeah, what happened with Alaska? It was a Russian Tsar that sold them in the late 19th century. Don't quote me on that.
Yeah, it was like 1860 something. Like,
and they found gold on it.
And then oil later on. Yeah, and it ended up being one of the best, one of Trump's deals.
It's like, but like Alaska, I don't even know how that was part of Russia because of the.
Oh, but so close there.
Yeah. It's close, but the
Alaska's not even joined to America, United States. It's combined at the top of Canada.
Yeah, fair point.
It's literally like if you can't drive from the United States to Alaska unless you go through Canada.
Yeah.
So it's like.
But this whole concept of like selling a part, it's a different time. Yeah.
Should adopt the old British policy, free real estate.
Well, there's no flag.
Yeah, exactly. I guess one of the most important things too, I'll say about this war, the US-Mexican border war, it served as military training ground for future Civil War generals. So Ursula Grant and Robert E. Lee. So that's where they got their stripes, got their
same
reps,
side to then
go to their traditional routes later on. 15 years down the track. So Now we've gone from the dream within a dream, so we're going to go back to the first dream, which is
still with us.
Yeah, still with us. Sorry, yeah. Just want to give a bit of backstory because I like that. Just a little historical context there. So, why Thoreau wrote this, rebellious kind of piece was that he was thrown into a jail and refused to pay for the poll. He had to pay some poll tax, which he saw as supporting the Mexican-American War.
And I think from what I read, he wholeheartedly disagreed with everything James Polk did.
Anti-slavery.
He didn't believe in the war. He believed it was imperialist and just an unjust land grab.
Yeah.
And I guess in his mind, he thought, paying taxes towards such an administration, I'm complicit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what sparked this whole, him writing this this document. And I guess you could say like the key principles and takeaways from it was basically like moral integrity. So individuals should follow their conscience rather than blindly obey the laws. He asserts that unjust laws deserve to be broken, as loyalty to morality trumps loyalty to the state. So to be true to yourself, be true to the what's right in your in justice in their eyes. And you kind of see like a lot of those connotations have relevance to what America tries to stand up, what it says it stands up for. Kind of, it's in their DNA when they're going about freedom of speech and justice and liberty for all kind of things. So,
well, I think from what reading about him and what he was saying at the time, that the common thing to do at the time is, I guess, if the majority won, right, the leader's in power, don't question it, you go silent and let's follow him. The right man's in the job, sort of thing, or the right person's in the job, right man at the time.
Yeah,
don't question, just follow, be obedient. Where he was like, no, fuck that. If you morally disagree, it's your duty to talk and make it known and follow your conscience and have your morals. Just because I guess morality, the concept of morality not always aligning with legality. I feel there's so much in that, right? It's very interesting.
Yeah.
But there's things with you talked about the modern relevance of the US, or even in the modern world, like people will often use legality as a shield for unethical behavior. There's a couple of sorry if we're going off topic here, but there's a couple of things, like if it's in today's time. Did you hear there's a story of Martin Shkreli? That's what they call him, the farmer bro. So he was a former pharmaceutical.
Was he one that's like putting up diabetes medicine and stuff?
It's I think the medicine was called Daraprim. So he was a former pharmaceutical executive, and he infamous for raising the price of the medicine was called Daraprim. So Daraprim, I think, treats toxoplasmosis. So this is like a parasitic infection, and it's really dangerous for people with weakened immune systems. So like HIV or AIDS patients, cancer patients, pregnant women. If it's left untreated, it can cause brain inflammation, eye damage, miscarriage, or even death. So he basically raised the price of Daraprim from $13.50 to $750.
Yeah.
So a 5,000% increase. And this move was legal under US pharmaceutical pricing laws. That right there, I guess, because it's legal doesn't mean it's right. This was a life-saving drug that was just inaccessible, pretty much, to most people. Well, to a lot of people. So, and I think he defended the move and saying, "Oh, it's just business."
Yeah.
It's...
No, he looks like a conniving little prick when you see his
he does.
face. Yeah, you got to hit him when you see him. Yeah. He fits the stereotype well.
Yeah. And there's other things like predatory lending. When you see those those high interest, those legal high interest
loan
loans.
sharks,
loan sharks. So you see them on the TV. What do we got here? Like fucking Wallet Wizard or something. Or
well, instead of buying a new lawnmower, I bought a couple of llamas. Problem is, they got bored and went next door.
The neighbours are back tomorrow. Where will we get the money?
Wallet Wizard, fast and easy cash loans. walletwizard.com.au.
Oh, these
afterpay and shit.
Yeah. These payday loans with fucking 300%. Interest rates, and they're really or fast cash loans with no credit checks, and these high fees, and I guess buy now pay later, that encourages overspending. Like the marketing's to make you consume, buy more. Don't worry about it. Don't. You see something, that's next week's problem. Don't worry about that. Yeah. And these guys just profit on it. Yeah, and you're kind of it's morally wrong because you're kind of profiting from poverty, but it's targeting low income areas and really go for those people with no alternative.
You're preying on the vulnerable.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, and it's not designed to help, but as a marketing, well, oh, we're here to help. It's you're there to trap them and extract money out of them. You don't want them to pay back.
No.
It's
you want them to be indebted and paying and installments and stuff.
And
predatory.
And I think there's a couple. I think we mentioned before, I guess in the Rod economy, when I think we were talking about RoboCop, even these like private prisons and stuff, like they're incentivized to keep people in prison or get more people in prison. So that's morally wrong.
Well, it's like we have this debate in Australia a lot of the time was like, do police have like speeding ticket quotas? We assume they do, but there's no like official thing. But then if they don't hit the certain amount of tickets raised in a certain day, do they not get extra bonus pay and stuff? And then are they actively looking to police and pull people over, or are they actually trying to maintain safety on the roads? KPIs, exactly. Same kind of thing.
And there's a few examples there of I think even we've talked about military-industrial complex just profiting off long wars. It's in their interest. It's in their interest of wars to keep going and going and going. It's that I would argue is morally wrong. I guess someone's got to fund them. You might as well make the money is another argument. But I guess this is what he was really arguing against, I think.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Very interesting. I've definitely opened up a rabbit hole this week.
No, definitely. I was reading about it too. And then also like a big part of it too of him was like, it was very much like the whole point of this protest and this rebellion is like non-violent resistance. That was a key element to it too. So he advocated for peaceful disobedience, such as refusing to pay taxes, participate in systems that uphold injustice as like a way to prevent, in a way to protest without causing harm. So you didn't want to go do a Lenin and go and slaughter everyone left, right, and center kind of thing. Well, what the Nazis did, it was more like a just resist and be disobedient, but don't harm people in the point. Don't choose violence as a path for this.
Yeah,
and I think the reason why this is still referenced today and why Harlan Ellison wrote this in his book is because it influenced very important political figures in the future. People like Gandhi, Martin Luther King have all cited this as like part of their inspiration, part of what they've read as like a way to go about their protests in a way they wanted to inspire change, as opposed to one of the things Martin Luther King would never begin KKK threatening him, one of his people killed, never retaliate with violence. No, use logic, use reason, use empathy, use words to get your point across, as opposed to violence. Because at the end of the day, like you're not going to make friends by acting violent. All you're going to do is make people resentful and suppress them.
So two wrongs don't make a right.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess that's the why it's I think that's a big part of the reason why he threw it in there. And this would have been just before Martin Luther King was assassinated in 1968, I think, from memory. Yeah. So you can see that both those two political figures were influenced by this, and so with these themes we just talked about too, with individualism, rebellion and stuff. You can see why he added this in with the Harlequin, why he wanted to add this point of view and to wake people up and don't just accept if you feel like something's wrong with the way that this system, this regiment, this structure's going. Change it up.
It's almost patriotic to question it.
Yeah, exactly, and then. I think also too how easy we can all fall into it and not think about it, just go along with it. You don't question it. Yeah.
So. I feel like there is a flip side to this though. Like thinking about, and when I was learning about it, I see so much of this echoes in American society today with the if you look at today's climate of skepticism, and it's led to that radicalized distrust. Like I'm all for a good conspiracy theory. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But when you can't even agree on what the truth is, or the flat earthers or the lizard people or I don't know. I can't think of any other ones right now at the top of my head. Possibly the moon landing.
Or like you see something like on TV, like say I don't know, there's someone gets killed by someone in America, and then it'll be it's the crazy woke left's gone nuts again. They're trying to do this, and then the same shooting. Then the right will be like, oh no, it's some And so then the left wing will be like, oh no, it's some right wing MAGA nutcase that's done it. And you're like, but how are you both? You're just using this murder victim as your kind of political tool to see, but how have you viewed it in this way and not the other way, and vice versa? Like they'll insert their own biases.
It's almost like it's. I feel like this
irrelevant.
This distrust has gone too far now. Like it's that's what I feel. That's kind of what I feel like this sort of line of thinking has led to.
Oh yeah.
Whilst I think it's great and it's good, but it's I guess human nature, isn't it? It's gone too far the other way. But there's that fine line between moral resistance and that reckless denial of truth as well.
Yeah.
Like, where is that line? You know, because you see it with everything that comes out, like, no, that's fake news. That's not happening. This is actually happening. It's a conspiracy. Like, well, maybe, just maybe, what you saw is what happened. You know, like.
To throw a spanner in the works, because, you know, could people argue that the 2021 insurrection, was that rebelling against the system? Was that kind of going against, you know, it was violent, I guess, so... But
yes, it was.
From their point of view, that's what they were doing, civil disobedience.
Yes, it was, yeah.
I mean, I personally didn't see it from that point of view,
no.
But from their point of view...
it was radicalized civil disobedience.
Yeah. And they, you know, because they, from their point of view, they view the system did them wrong, did the society wrong, so they rebelled against that.
Yeah, I mean, Henry Thoreau would have been probably turning in his grave with the way say it was violent.
Like,
but
but like the whole premise behind it, though.
Yes, I believe this is what that leads to. Yeah.
That's where, as you said, like that's where on the flip side of it, like, is it sometimes we need systems in place, right? Or kind of like it's not as black and white as just, you know, oh, we're rebelling against something. Like, I mean, like. In regards to Thoreau, that was slavery, is a completely different thing. Like,
a completely different
thing, yeah. And something.
But I do believe that line of thinking is kind of. It's just in today's climate, it's just gone completely the other way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
to the extreme.
Yeah, and it gets. I guess too, like we've talked about in previous episodes about how information is so easily accessed these days, but then it can also be manipulated in a certain way to make people think a certain way about a certain event. So it's very. Well, never we've had so much more access to information, but also we've never had more access to misinformation. So
yes,
so it's just
it's all unfiltered and just you're seeing it 5,000 times a day. You don't know what to think.
Oh, it is. Yeah. Well, you go on Twitter for fucking 2 seconds and scroll through, like, Jesus Christ, you think the world's about to explode? Jesus, it's insane. Oh yeah. Anyway, but so I think before we go further into the plot, I'll read that passage from Civil.
Yes, I think let's read it. Yeah,
go for it. Yeah.
All right. So there are always those who ask, what is it all about? For those who need to ask, for those who need points sharply made, who need to know where it's at, this. The mass of men serve the state thus, not as men mainly, but as machines, with their bodies. They are the standing army and the militia, jailers, constables, posse comitatus, etc., etc. In most cases, there is no free exercise whatever of the judgment or of the moral sense, but they put themselves on a level with wood and earth and stones, and wooden men can perhaps be manufactured that will serve the purposes as well. Such command no more respect than men of straw or a lump of dirt. They have the same sort of worth only as horses and dogs. Yet such as these even are commonly esteemed good citizens. Others, as most legislators, politicians, lawyers, ministers, and office holders, serve the state chiefly with their heads. And, as they rarely make any moral distinctions, they are as likely to serve the devil without intending it as God. A very few as heroes, patriots, martyrs, reformers in the great sense, and men, serve the state with their consciences also, and so necessarily resist it for the most part, and they are commonly treated as enemies by it.
Yeah, wow.
There's a few,
really good talking points in there.
There's a few really good talking points.
No, I like that part towards the end where they go, they are likely to serve the devil without intending it as God. Yeah, that's very hits home.
And this is, I think, plays into that whole thing is just because it's legal doesn't make it morally right.
Yeah.
But I feel like even talking about last week's episode on the lottery, I feel like these two are linked somehow.
Yeah, it is a bit like that, isn't it?
Yeah, they're similar in so many ways, but with being about completely different subjects, but they feel similar. They feel like they're arguing against the same thing.
There's a lot of, like, because in the lottery it was about groupthink, where this is kind of like societal think in a way, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like a whole, like, we just assume we've always kind of known the system to be this, and it must be in place for a reason, and it works for this reason, so we must stick with it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Not thinking, oh, this actually is not really helping us in this way. Why are we doing this? Yeah, no, just go along with it, you know?
But even I think the one that sticks to me, the mass of men serve the state thus, not as men mainly, but as machines with their bodies. It's all that cog in the machine and just being a slave to time and all that creativity's gone out. You're just a cog. And he mentioned something about wooden men I mean, there's that fear now of being replaced by AI,
Oh,
and
yeah.
again, it's quite prophetic.
Oh, it is. Yeah. The foreshadowing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't read Civil Disobedience. I've watched a couple of videos on it and Henry David Thoreau, but I will. It's about 20 odd pages. Having a look, so I do intend to read that.
Yeah, same, definitely.
Because it's very interesting, very thought provoking.
Yeah, and I think as we said earlier too, like when you first read this whole passage, you think. Because you're reading that, you think, oh, what's this story about? Why is it called Repent Harlequin? It said the Ticktockman, and you're reading this whole very thought-provoking passage as you just read out just before, and you're like, what's going on here? Like, but then when you start to get into the crux of the story, and you're like, oh, okay, then read it again. Now I know why he added this in there because of what the whole meaning behind it is. Yeah. No, it's I think it's very poignant in that way that he did that.
So straight away, we're introduced into a dystopia where punctuality is law and time is now state controlled. So it's gone completely the other way. So we're introduced to the Ticktockman, and he rules with precision and removes time from violators, and even goes as far as killing them. So I think it established this concept at the time, though, if you could, and it starts at the middle, doesn't it? They make a point of saying it starts. So
kind of starts saying that there's this sinister, jovial character causing mayhem, right? Disruption to the system. Yeah. Because they're talking about here, was it saints and sinners, they're bred in circuses, they're heroes and villains. He was considered a Bovier, a Napoleon, a Robin Hood, a Dick Bong, aces of aces, a Jesus, a Jomo Kenyatta. So that's kind of like,
to the lower classes, he was upheld as a hero.
Yeah.
It was entertainment almost. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
To the high class, you could almost say he was a terrorist or something, wasn't he? He's disrupting time and he's disrupting production.
He's back in the way it's, the status quo, affecting it big time. Yeah. So,
but I guess this is that point where he probably felt like suing In Time for, because we're introduced to the fact that time is now literally money. It's gone completely. Despite what Benjamin Franklin said in the mid 1700s, it's gone now. It's literally money now. Yeah. And we're being late. Yeah, deducts time from your lifespan, basically.
I mean, it's always been the most valuable commodity for us, but then now it's like dialed up to 10 now, hasn't it? Yeah. It's like literally life and death with it.
Yeah, it is.
I kind of like as you said earlier too, like it describes a Ticktockman. He's this big burlesque man, like sort of over 6 foot tall, big, powerful. But then at the same time, he had this soft, purring, calm, cold voice to him, like kind of a bit like kind of has a bit of a Darth Vader vibe to it, doesn't it, or something?
Now that you mention it, yeah.
Like, it's the way it's kind of like the way it's described. But the thing was, even though he's referred to as the Ticktockman, his official name was the Time Master. Yeah. So it's like everyone was so frightened and terrified of him. So they said the Ticktockman is his nickname, said like in jest in a way. But then no one would ever dare say it to his face because they're worried that because he's obviously got the time in the palm of his hands, he can just switch them off.
Why would you want to piss him off when you don't have to?
Yeah, exactly like Darth Vader.
Yeah.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Yeah, I think I like this quote too from the thing is, you don't call a man a hated name, not when that man behind his mask is capable of revoking the minutes, the hours, the days and nights, the years of your life. He was called the master timekeeper to his master. It was safer that way. Yeah, because that perfectly encapsulates what the kind of character is. Yeah. All authoritarian, ruling, won't takes no prisoners. He has his rules in place and structures, and if you mess with that, you are gone. So it's at this point too where they're trying to so it's kind of like it's like the ministry of wherever the Ticktockman is. He's got his own secret police and other spies and stuff, and they're trying to figure out who is this Harlequin person. He's top of the third roof of the city. He's hammering aluminium frames from platforms and disrupting things and making stupid noises and throwing swizzle sticks and stuff all this weird stuff that he's throwing, all these weird kind of old 1960s kind of toys and shit that people would play with back in the day, this kind of stuff. So he's referencing that kind of stuff. So there's kind of referencing that these little things later, he's trying to say at this particular minute of time, this airship's meant to arrive at precisely 2:47 p.m. So but then the childish whimsical Harlequin guy's coming in there, and then he's disrupting this left here and doing this and that, and then now by him doing that, now the the airship's off by 2 minutes or whatever it is. So it's starting to plant the seed of why this Harlequin guy is being tracked and traced, right?
Yeah, and you know when they were talking about that, how everything's like hyper regimented and everything's there's this layer of like everything's on time, but it doesn't take into consideration I guess even the environment or possibly things could go wrong. And when you knock it off slightly, everything goes.
The domino
effect.
Yeah.
And that kind of remind me. I mean, obviously, we keep bringing it up every week, but about COVID, I guess what happened with supply chain, how everything was just. I guess you'd refer to it as what people would call. I guess what importers and stuff would call just-in-time buying. So the whole concept, it's just-in-time. The whole just-in-time mentality is you forecast to such an extent or to such a point that you know, as best as you can, you forecast for your stock to come in just in time. So it minimizes warehousing. So that's, in an ideal world, you've sold out of everything and everything comes the next day for you to sell again. So it minimizes stuff. It minimizes shelf time. It minimizes warehouse time. So that doesn't cost as much money. It saves on storage and it's kind of the most efficient. The whole world basically revolved on that for pretty much, well, before COVID, really.
Yeah.
We got to such a point, it was so hyper efficient. As soon as COVID hit, that was it. We had no backup stock. We saw what happened with a lot of medical equipment, a lot of masks. I guess it went a bit nuts with toilet paper. I don't know. We made enough here, but everyone panicked anyway. That's one of the big reasons COVID hit so hard on the supply chain, because everyone was in that mentality, thinking that no, everything's going to be okay. Don't worry about it. We don't need backup because it's always there. It's always available. And it really made me think of that when I was listening to this. Like, just by him messing around with one thing, 1 or 2 minutes, the whole system's fucked now. Yeah.
It got me thinking about, remember, was it 2018, 2019? Remember when that ship was it the Panama Canal?
On the Suez
Canal, so I remember that, and how that one ship blocking the whole canal, how it threw all the shipping lanes out.
Because everything's so tightly linked.
I remember that, and I remember how much issues that caused. It just like one little thing like that, like just shut down everything. I remember that. I think we talked about a previous episode where remember the system went down, the backup system in 2024, the Microsoft thing went down, and then like your flights got delayed. That one little malfunction happened in some little shack somewhere, and the butterfly effect of that, where banking systems, airplanes, traffic control all went stopped for 24 hours because there's one little bug in the system. It's frightening how vulnerable one little thing like that, or one little jolt here and there, can change to the course of the system for that particular time.
And it got me on the second or third read. I'm like, shit, I think that's what he's pointing at there. By him distracting everyone doing this, like, everyone was pleased, but it threw everything back 2 minutes, and now
and it shows you he's doing it in like little increments. So initially it's like doing like the jolting the ship off a bit, then it's like he's walking down the sidewalk and he goes up to some random person, sticks his tongue out and goes wagga wagga wagga, like I said earlier, and then the person they're a bit turned off by him and stumbled, and then they drop their parcel, and then that slows them down. It's a little flow-on effect. I didn't pick that up as well the first time, but then you're looking back and reading like, so he's showing it like slowly growing, little increments, and like little effects here and there can change the system in the long run, kind of thing. So he's definitely emphasizing that.
I guess it shows how it shows how one small thing, and you probably got it there in the grand scheme of things. I mean, it's a massive ship, but one small thing can bring the system to its knees. And I guess that's the point he's making.
Exactly. And it's not done in a way where it's like brute force or violence as well. It's not. There's a little distraction, a little twinge here, a little inconvenience here and there. I think this is the point too where the stakes get a bit higher, is when he infiltrates that. It's like a warehouse or something that the factory workers are on the airboat, and then he somehow lets go like 150,000 worth of jelly beans, right? And he throws them down, and it's funny too. It's kind of like a carnival atmosphere. He talks about the blue and the red and the white and the yellow and the black and the licorice coloured jelly beans all flounced everywhere. And he's like describing it in all this detail, and I'm trying to imagine, like, you remember you go to like those old school candy stores and you're seeing the big wall of jelly beans. You just imagine them all flying down and stuff. Like it's
this is one of the things I struggle with. I was talking about how whimsical it was. I struggled with this on first and probably even second read. But I think I finally understand the symbology. But I think I understand it because of what you said before with civil disobedience, with talking about that non-violent protest. I feel like this almost symbolizes it. Like, because of I guess it's it's a candy, it's a childlike, frivolous thing, and it's kind of used to attack this cold world. And like it's absurd, but that's kind of the point of the story, right?
I think too, because it's a very black and white, grim world. But then he's throwing in, and he's throwing in like something like a jelly bean, which is meant to be colourful and fanciful and bright and like, not to say prosperous, but it's like a real creativity, art of expression kind of thing. You know, you're seeing all the colours of the rainbow basically.
Yeah.
And you imagine them flying around and jostling everywhere and causing people like, oh, what's going on, and freaking out.
But people are they're almost entertained and mesmerised by it, aren't they? And
so it says here, like, you know, people in the slideworks, they all stopped. Everyone was dumped with the jockstraw tumble and still laughing and popping little jelly beans going everywhere, childish colour in their mouths, like they're all like that kind of stuff. And it was like a holiday, it says as well. You know?
And it's his idea of, I guess, a non-violent protest, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like disrupting everything. But then it goes into this point, and he goes, it was a holiday, jollity and absolute insanity, a giggle, but the shift was delayed 7 minutes. They did not go home for 7 minutes. The master schedule was thrown off by 7 minutes. Quotas were delayed by inoperative slide works for 7 minutes. There we go.
Yeah.
So this one little action, we said the dominoes keep falling, the butterfly effect, that one incident caused this thing to be late, then that thing late by another 7 minutes. 7 minutes here, 7 minutes there. So it's throwing a spanner in the works. It's affecting the whole system. The whole thing's being thrown out of sync, out of order.
Yeah.
So, but then it's kind of saying like, look, this is an inconvenience to the system. But in the grand scheme of things, it's not that big of a disruption. But it's still not good though. Like, we know it's such a sophisticated cognitive system that it can still reverse and go clockwise position, but it can still be thrown out a little bit. But in the grand scheme of things, it can still, you know, this little lapse is not it's not a disaster at this point, is it? So
I think now it's at this point now he's ordered now to appear at the office of the Ticktockman, isn't he?
Yeah, I kind of love this part too, because it's just like, this Harlequin man, you must report here at this precise time, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And it's like, as if a fucking criminal's just going to turn, like, because they're so used to everyone being so obedient, they're just like, they just assume he's going to turn up and hand himself in.
Yeah.
I love that part. Yeah, it's hilarious. And what does it say here? He was ordered to be there at 7 o'clock, damn it, on time.
Yeah.
And they waited, but he did not show up, and it was almost 10:30. And you can tell, like, you can tell this guy's an absolute piss taker, right? He just loves messing with them and annoying them. And then it got to the point where he doesn't turn up, but then everyone was still questioning, like, who is this Harlequin? Who is this man? What's going on? What's his purpose? Why is he causing this mayhem?
That was, I guess, that point was the middle. So it started in the middle. It's like when George Lucas did Star Wars, man. Like,
the prequel to the sequel.
Yeah. And he goes, here is the beginning, how it starts. A desk pad, day for day, and turn each day. 9 o'clock, open the mail. 9:45, appointment with Planning Commission Board. 10:30, discuss installation progress charts with JL. 11:45, pray for rain. 12 o'clock lunch, and so it goes. I'm sorry, Miss Grant, but the time for interviews was set at 2:30, and it's almost 5 now. I'm sorry you're late, but those are the rules. You'll have to wait till next year to submit your application for this college again, and so it goes. Like, I think it from what I gather from that, it the beginning, it just becomes a guy that's just become disillusioned and just fucking, I can't do with this regimented time. Why can't I do what I want to do?
I'm going mad.
He just snapped, but he snapped in a non-violent way, you know?
Oh, just reading the 9 o'clock, 9:45, 10:30, then 12 o'clock. I'm like, oh Jesus, it's just like my work schedule at the same time. Like, Jesus, hitting home.
Yeah.
It's so true though. But as I said earlier, some people respond to it well, some people don't like it. So it's horses for courses. I think, and then I think what it's good too, it kind of like shows like how time obsessed like people are as well, like within the system, how much they buy into it. Because like at one point it quotes someone saying, "I couldn't wait for Fred. I had to be at the Pierre Cartans by 3 o'clock, and you said that you'd meet me under the clock terminal at 2:45, and you weren't there, so I had to go on. You're always late." So it's like that. You know, Fred, if you're going to be there, we could have sewed it up together. But as it goes along, so I went alone. They're basically saying, you know, if you're not here at a specific point of time, you know, bad luck. I'll move on. You know, this is the way the world revolves around. You know, this time structure.
Yeah, and there's little things here as well. Like, you cannot vote unless you appear at 8:45 a.m. I don't care if the script is good. I need it Thursday. I guess it becomes this. It's this point where productivity over actual results. Yeah. Who gives a shit? Who gives a shit if it's good? It needs to be out. We need to get it out. You know, and I feel like that would have been like, that would have offended him.
Yeah, and there's another one too, was like, it talks about a family called Mr. and Mrs. Atlee. He goes, "Oh, your son's constant tardiness, I'm afraid we will have to suspend him from school unless his more reliable method can be instituted guaranteeing he will arrive in classes on time." granted, he's an exemplary student. He has high marks and is constantly flouting our schedules in school, which makes it impractical to maintain him in the system.
Yeah.
But saying he might be this absolute genius. It's like examination day. Like, he's this genius guy. Well, this is getting, but he's not time efficient, so he's not going to work in the system. Yeah, he's going to be useless.
And we said before, some people just they can't do it. They can't adapt to it. It's just the whole idea of it just offends them, and they're not creative, and they can't critically think, and they're boxed in.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No, it's interesting as well.
Yeah, it starts escalating and escalating. Like, your salary has been docked for 20 minutes, times lost, and it starts going and going. I mean, it makes you think of sweatshops and stuff when you're getting like docked for bathroom breaks and everything,
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And then you go, what? And then it gets to the point where, until it becomes more than a minor inconvenience to be late, it becomes a sin, then a crime punishable by this. Effective 15th of July, 2389, 12 midnight, the office of the master timekeeper will require all citizens to submit their time cards and cardio plates for processing. In accordance with statute 5557 SGH 999, governing the revocation of time per capita, all cardio plates will be keyed to the individual holder and what they have had done. It was a device, a method of curtailing the amount of life a person could have. If he was 10 minutes late, he lost 10 minutes of his life. An hour was proportionally worth more revocation. If someone was constantly tardy, he might find himself on a Sunday night receiving a communique from the master timekeeper that his time had run out, and he would be turned off at high noon on Monday. Please straighten your affairs, sir. Yeah, it just escalates and escalates, and I guess this is where he saw it going, right?
Yeah, and it's kind of like saying, if you just allow something like a minor inconvenience, then it can snowball into what this eventually turns into.
And it's almost like I severely doubt this will ever happen, but I guess he's at the point, like, almost think if they could, they would.
Yeah.
I mean, my great grandfather used to say, my dad was telling me obviously about Margaret Thatcher. He said if she could put a tank on your back and charge you for air, she fucking would. That was his attitude. But like, it's kind of you can feel that sort of thinking from him. Very cynical.
Yeah, and it's funny too, because it reminds me of America too, with their their rights to firearms and stuff. Because like, on one hand, like, from an outside looking in, we see the mass shootings, the mass killings, and we're just like horrified by it and don't understand why they are so like pertinent having these guns all the time. But then you look at it from their point of view, how they're founded on rebellion against the British Empire, and they had their own nation, and all men deserve the right to firearms. And the reason why we have the firearms is because we're worried that, if you start taking away our rights, that means you take away, the first step is take away the guns, and then then the new system, the new state will then start to control things, and there's no way of fighting back. And I can see that mentality. But then I still don't think you need a fucking Bushmaster M16 to defend your home. But like,
or a Gatling gun.
Gatling gun, yeah. I mean, at that point, you might as well give them a nuke bomb to defend yourself. There's a limit. But I understand that mentality, because it's like, it's those things like, you take away one little freedom, then when does it end? When does it stop? Yeah. And then people think it was a bit like with the machine stops, because remember, it was like in the machine stops. The aircon wasn't correct now, but it's an inconvenience. But now we just tolerate it. Yeah. And the next thing would fall, and the next thing, and then it has that snowball effect. It's like this. Then now it's at the point where
it's almost I guess it's interesting, because you do look at it. How can you in this day and age, with everything that's gone on, still accepted? But it's almost not about the guns, is it?
No,
it's almost where it leads to if you take it away. I get it.
Yeah, I understand that point of view completely. And as I said before, it's just the way they go about it. Sometimes I don't agree with, and when like at what point is someone's life worth more than the right for you just to have like as I said, like a Bushmaster M16 kind of thing?
Yeah, I think it's different. We look at our experience with guns. I mean, it was almost overnight with the old
Port Arthur,
Arthur massacre that John Howard came out. Right, that's it. That's done. Over one incident.
Yeah.
Basically, without a hitch, really. We just
we've never had a mass shooting since.
Yeah, but it wasn't really much uproar or anything, was there? It was just sort of. I mean, there was a little bit, but
I don't know if I've told you, maybe off air or something. But my grandfather was a survivor of a mass shooting.
Oh, really?
There was a famous one in Sydney. It's called the Stratfield 1991 shooting, where a mad guy was in a cafe, and out of nowhere he pulled out a gun and started shooting. He killed about 7 people, I think. Yeah. And my grandfather had a chemist shop in Stratfield Mall, and he said that he ducked. He saw the guy because where it started was in a cafe, and he saw the shooter, and the shooter looked at him, fired to him. My grandfather ducked, and he saw the bullet hit the wall, and the dust come down his face.
Wow.
Yeah, and then he just moved on, but because he was a bit of a proud man, he never really talked about how much it affected him. But my mum and stuff a bit like, it was very traumatic for him. But yeah, it was just Australia did have a couple of mass shootings before Port Arthur, but Port Arthur was one that took it. That was it. Yeah, and then since then it's never been an issue. Yeah,
it's funny how. Well, look, it makes sense, and civil disobedience it's making a hell of a lot more sense, I guess, than what they were founded on. And
exactly.
Yeah.
And you can see the references to it now. Yeah. Sorry, stay on target.
Stay on target. We're too close. Stay on target.
So we got to the Second Amendment, but yeah.
Well, I think it's testament to the story.
Yeah,
making us go down these rabbit holes.
No, definitely, no. Yes, at this point we get to the Harlequin back at his home when he's talking to his wife. Her name is Ellison. She's saying to him like, "Oh, the wanted poster out for you. The people are looking for you." And she's like, "Aren't you worried? Aren't you worried about what happened to you?" And he's like, always apologizing, like, "Oh, I'm sorry," kind of thing. And she's like, "You don't have to be sorry. You always have this guilt. It's like it's sad you like this. This is like, why can't you just be like a normal person and just follow the rules and regulations? And why are you always going out, gallivanting in the night, causing mayhem, dressing up like in these silly costumes, running around? Like, why are you doing this?" And then she just cannot understand why he can't just follow the rules like everyone else does. And he's just kind of like, "Oh, it's just I have to. I can't." He can't even explain it to her like this. The trapment he feels.
Either that or if she wouldn't get it.
Yeah, or she wouldn't get it, exactly, yeah. Yeah, so before because he argued with her saying how that ridiculous kind of thing, and then he tells her, "Don't worry, I'll be back at 10:30. And then she gets angry. She goes, "Why do you tell me that?" She goes, "You'll be late. You know it. You're always late. Why do you tell me these dumb lies?" And then she slammed the door in his face. And then he is bewildered, but then he says to himself, "You know what? She's right. I will be late. I'm always late. Why do I tell her? Why do I try to assure her that I'm going to be on time when I'm never going to?"
Yeah.
It's kind of like saying it's indicative of his nature. He's always going to be like this. He's not going to change, and this is who he is. Yeah. So no, I think it's an important point because she comes up an important part later down the track.
She does. One of the bits I like next, and I think there's a little bit where he sort of has a run-in with the authorities again and shows up early this time when they're all expecting him to be late and everything. So it's a bit whimsical. Like he kind of makes everyone laugh, but then we better go after him,
Yeah, doesn't he say, "Oh, I'll be at this location at precisely was it 9 o'clock or something?"
Yeah.
And then he
shows up at 9. Yeah,
we get there at like 20 minutes before 9, wasn't it? Yeah.
And everyone thought, "Oh, we'll show up at 12 because that's what time."
Yeah.
So he sort of does all that. It's all a bit like. Yeah, I don't know. It plays into that whole whimsical tone of it too.
Yeah, was it the cartoon villain? Mischief maker. Yeah,
it does. But there's a bit where he goes to the I guess the shopping center, and I guess there's no more critique on consumerism when you're talking about like the concept of a shopping center, right? And I think he gets up on the roof, and almost like what does it say when the Harlequin appeared on the still being constructed shell of the new efficiency shopping center. His bullhorn to his elfishly laughing tips, everyone pointed and stared and himerated them. So it's almost like I've got this vision of him standing at a highest point, like looking like this sort of this heroic figure like Batman or something, and everyone's sort of looking up like, but it's what he says. He's like, "Why let them order you about? Why let them tell you to hurry and scurry like ants or maggots? Take your time, saunter a while, enjoy the sunshine, enjoy the breeze, let life carry you at your own pace. Don't be slaves of time. It's a hell of a way to die, slowly, by degrees. Down with the Ticktockman."
Yeah. They're trying to invoke a revolution, critical thinking, bit of nuance, thinking outside of the square, isn't he?
Yeah.
It kind of gets you like, when you go on holidays and you just see people like all they're worried about is like taking photos and they're not in the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of invokes that kind of feeling when I think of that, when you're reading that part out. I think, sorry, one more thing before we go further into it. I think it's an important point too, where he's saying while the Harlequin's doing his activities in quote marks, he goes to about this random person who's been given their turn off notice by the Ticktockman, a guy called Marshall Delahanty. It basically shows that I think he called the whole family in, and she knew it was, even though without unsealing it, she knew that she was kind of hoping that it wasn't her, it was one of her, it was anyone but her. And then she finds out it actually is for her husband. And she's like relieved, but at the same time sad that her husband's going to be terminated. Yeah, so she reads it, relieved it's not her. And the next trooper in the line had caught the bullet. Marshal, she screamed, Marshal, termination. So basically saying that he's going to die. And then they're kind of like, they're a bit denial of it. But then when the time came for the termination, because he freaked out and then ran away into the forest about 200 miles away. And when when he wasn't there on time for his termination meeting, he basically knelt down. He was running, trying to get away. Then suddenly his heart stopped. So TikTokman just went snap, done. Yeah,
and you wonder why all the formalities,
Yeah,
when you could have just done it anyway.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
I guess that's the point too.
Yeah, it's kind of but then it's kind of like there's no running, there's no hiding from it. This is the ultimate control it has. And I think what's interesting because he talks about it too, and in a way where it's like he knelt over running and his heart stopped and the blood dried up on its way to the brain and he was dead. That's all. One light. Then he just goes and says that the sector map in the office of the master wild notification when it was faxed to the reproduction, and it just basically said, this person's being done. She will remarry. Move on to the next assignment. Yeah. He's cold. Yeah, it's very
cold,
systematic.
Bureaucratic.
Yeah, very. Especially, it reminded me of I said earlier, examination day when little Dickie gets killed and they're just like, oh yeah, we're informing you he failed the test. Yeah, he's gone. We cremated his body. Move on. Yeah, it's like whoa.
$10, please.
Yeah, $10. Thanks. Yeah. It's a bit very macabre in some ways, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, as you were saying before, and it's at this point too that they when they do realize that he's at the shopping center, then he sends all his secret police and all that onto him directly. And then what's funny when they're trying to capture him, the construction workers are there or something, and they're saying, no, we can't help out because that's going to affect our schedule going from there. And then the timekeeper kind of manipulates in his own way to go, no, if you help us here, we'll figure it out. You won't lose any time there and hereabouts. So they end up actually capturing him and take him then back to the headquarters of the Time Master.
Yeah, and I think it mentions it throws everything back by hours, hours. So I guess in one way he's broken the system a little bit, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's kind of achieved like the ultimate like nudge thing, right? Yeah, because he goes into detail about like therefore this system went down and the flow valves went this way and then the wedges weren't enough for this point. It shows the whole domino, the whole butterfly effect of the whole him throwing the system out. So it also shows how they were using everything under their power that they can to capture him. They were using cops, search and seizures, dogs, torment, torture. The whole bureaucracy, the authoritarian government was throwing all its resources to capture this guy. Yeah, showing you because he was so much of a threat to them that he had to be stopped and neutralized, basically. Yeah. And it's funny because when they talk about this, he goes into like this detail about how, and then it just goes, and what the hell they called him. It was just like that. You're like, oh, all right. No big standoff, no big grandstand. It's like, oh no, they just
I like
him.
that.
No, it gets to the point. It's cool. And then that's when we find out the name of the Harlequin is Everett C. Mann. And the thing was too, it's kind of like he's not anyone special. He's just an everyday person. Yeah.
And I guess that's the point maybe he's making, right? Anyone could do this.
Yeah, anyone can start a rebellion.
It doesn't take much to start it doesn't take much to disrupt the system or start a rebellion, does it?
Yeah. And this is what starts the dialogue between Ticktockman and the Harlequin, where the famous quote comes from. Yeah. Where the Ticktockman goes to him, "Repent, Harlequin," said the Ticktockman. So it's like kind of saying, confess your sins, say you're sorry, apologize, and make up for it. And he's just like, get stuffed. He goes, and that's when the Ticktockman reads out his schedule, like how many times he's been late. He goes, "You've been a total of 63 years, 5 months, 3 weeks, 2 days, 12 hours, 41 minutes, 59 seconds, 0.036111 microseconds." Yeah. So you've done everything you can and more. I'm going to turn you off. And what's the most terrifying thing for the Ticktockman is that not that how much he structured the system, is that he's actually not afraid of the Ticktockman. That's what scares him the most. So that's where Harlequin replies back going, "Go somewhere else. I'd rather be dead than alive, living in a dumb world with a boogeyman like you." And then, that's when he basically says, "You're a tyrant. You have no right to people around you and kill them. And what they show up late, it's unjust. You just." And then he goes, "You can't fit in. You can't fit into the society." Basically, saying you're a nonconformist, you're a felon, blah 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 blah. Then that's when he starts questioning the Ticktockman's logic and reasoning, and he goes, well, not everyone thinks like you. Most people enjoy order. And he goes, I don't. Most people don't. And he goes,
and I think that goes to what you said. I think most people do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Majority rules, right? And it gives
Yeah.
people a purpose and I guess a drive in a way, doesn't it? So, and yeah, that's at the point too. How do you know that? And he goes, well, who do you think caught you? He goes, I don't really care. He goes, well, a pretty girl named Alice is the one who told us who you were. And then he goes, no, that's a lie. So then we find out the whole time the only reason he ever got busted was because his wife turned him in. And then he goes and say, you unsettled her, you unnerved her, you kind of thing. So,
Sorry, I know I've mentioned a couple of poets in this, but it reminded me just what you said there about most people like order and this sort of seemingly perfect world. There is a story in Greek mythology, and I can't remember when I'd learnt this, but it's called the bed of Procrustes. It was basically about a guy. He was a cruel figure so he basically forced travelers to fit his iron bed by either stretching or cutting off the limbs. So this myth's often used as a metaphor. Like, so every traveler that came through, oh no, I've got the perfect bed for you. It's perfect. It fits everyone. Oh, even if I'm this tall, yeah, that's fine. And if they were short, he'd stretch out their legs to make it fit. Or if they're too tall, he'd cut their legs off. And it's a little metaphor for, like, I guess the perfect system of it doesn't suit everyone, but we can make it work, kind of thing. Yeah. It reminded me of that. Yeah.
Yeah, forcing, was it a square through a circle peg?
Pretty much. Yeah.
Brute force. So
we can force you to conform to this sort of rigid system, like it kind of invokes that.
Yeah. No, definitely. No, it's a good point you bring up. So we're thinking now at this point too, he's going to basically turn off his cardio plate now. He goes, yeah, stop arguing. I'm just get over and done with. Put me out of my misery then. And he's like, I'm not going to turn you off. And he goes, you're an idiot. Repent, Harlequin again, said the Ticktockman, get stuffed. So then we find out, no, they sent him to Coventry, so which is a phrase of saying they're going to re-education happy camp, isn't he?
Well, yeah, and just on that, he gives a reference to Winston Smith in 1984.
Yeah, he basically says that, right? Yeah.
I'm just wondering, possibly could the trust of George Orwell have sued him for referencing?
Oh, he should have, yeah.
if he was
alive, yeah.
If he was suing bloody what's his name for
I think at the same time, Thoreau's and Orwell's estate should have sued him simultaneously. Give him a taste of his own medicine. Yeah. No, but like I think because it was a short novel, he didn't want to go into full. It felt like, okay, what I'll do, I'll just summarize what happens here. So. And he's assumed that most people would have read it in 1984, which I assumed back then they would have.
But what I like is, I guess it kind of it attributes it to, all right, we're in the same world. This is just sometime in the future.
Yeah. Same world, like same concept, but then different kind of way of going about it. Yeah.
Yeah. And he also mentions like what does he say? It was just like they did to Winston Smith in 1984, which was a book none of them knew about, but the techniques are really quite ancient. So they did it to Everett C. Marm. Like it's almost like the book would have been forgotten about in this world, and nobody would have read it because it would have been burnt or lost to time.
Yeah, no, definitely.
But if you get it, you get it.
Yeah, and that's because I think it was directed at people reading at the time when he brought this short novel out. So, assuming most people would have read 1984 back then, or like a lot of people who were interested in this kind of thing would have read it. So, yeah. So he's kind of like, remember the torture techniques that poor old Winston went through. Yeah. So that's exactly what happened to the Harlequin.
And what did Big Brother do to Winston Smith in 1984?
He ended up loving him.
He ended up loving him because Big Brother could have no martyrs.
Yeah, exactly.
And shit, that reminded me. You remember what old Putin did to his mate Prigozhin?
Oh yeah.
He appeared. He made terms with him, and all was forgiven. And then a week later, suddenly died in a plane crash.
Oh, tragic. Yeah.
But importantly, he could not be made a martyr.
No.
Yeah. I think old Putin's around 1984.
Yeah. I mean, would you say he's in the KGB and that kind of that played the any techniques they use? But yeah, then it goes on to say like, he was destroyed, which was a loss, but. Because of that, what Drew said earlier, but you can't make an omelette without breaking a few eggs. In every revolution, a few die who shouldn't, but they have to because that's the way it happens. And if you only make one little change, then it seems to be worthwhile, or to make that point lucidly. And then at this point too, because we're thinking, okay, yeah, he's made, he caused these disruptions, but then what the biggest payoff at all was that at the end here it goes. Excuse me, sir. I don't know how to tell you this, but you were 3 minutes late. And he's saying this to the Ticktockman. And he goes, the schedule's a little bit off. And then he grimly shifts. He goes, that's ridiculous, murmured the Ticktockman. Check your watch. And then he went into his office again. and then it goes on. So that little thing, all that stuff that Harlequin did, it has that one little effect. It affected the time of the system by 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And that's what the first stepping stone to what can lead to a bigger, greater outcome.
Yeah, and I think it's almost like a twist at the end is the Ticktockman enforcing it, but he does what he wants, but everyone else has to follow this time. I kind of took that from it as well.
Yeah, I actually didn't think that.
It sort of it smells of hypocrisy for me is kind of what I took from it. But yeah,
no, I took from it that like we think that because with the whole point of 1984 is that really Winston Smith didn't change anything, right? Or there never was a rebellion. It was just him being put into a false sense of security, thinking that he was rebelling against the system, but the system was actually really preying on him.
Yeah,
where this is kind of has that kind of same kind of thing to it, but then actually the actions that the Harlequin took did have some little these little things he did ended up snowballing to a big thing that's affected the system as a whole, where it's off by 3 minutes now, and it's throwing things out, and that one little motion can change things, crack in the system.
Yeah,
and as he quotes there too, an omelette can't be made without breaking a few eggs. So unfortunately, people are going to be sacrificed for the greater good. For these little small stepping stones have to happen. Unfortunately, sometimes.
Yeah.
People, we see it all the time with revolutions, like figures where people die for the greater good, for their cause or whatever it is. It's part of the human, part of our human history in a way, right? All these things that happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, that's the Repent, Harlequin, the TikTokman.
A lot of themes in that.
There was a lot of deep diving. Yeah, a lot of rabbit holes I didn't think would go down, but went down.
Yeah, a lot of rabbit holes. I would really recommend that one.
Yeah, it's real thinker, that one. Yeah,
a real thinker. This is the second one that's caught me off guard, really, with the machine stops and this in different ways. Like it's.
Yeah, you'd say the machine stop was like more like you knew going into it. There's going to be like a lot of like deep thinking, like a lot of themes going into it. Where this one was like. Because just the name itself is so whimsical, like repent Harlequin, so the TikTokman, like it's very
that voice,
in that voice, yeah. And then when you first read it, even though it's by design, it still throws you off. You're this is bizarre, and they said talking about jelly beans and whimsical sticks and all this stuff, and
elfish ears, weird sayings.
Yeah, like, as I said, like it's like a cartoon on a Saturday morning or something. You see the Looney Tunes and shit. But then, no, when you read it a couple of times, and then with civil disobedience about it and what it's trying to say and the way the Ticktockman runs the society and the systems, and you're just like, oh, wow, no, there's a lot to say about this.
I got to say, when I got an understanding of civil disobedience, it helped. It helped when I read the story.
Yeah, and it's funny, looking back, that's why he put it there on purpose, right? Because people would be thinking, oh, what's the point of this? And he's trying to reference it to this and what he's trying to get out
he
of
probably wants you to go and read it.
No, he's one of the great writers of the 20th century, Harlan Ellison. And
he really is.
Yeah.
In
fact, he wrote this 6 hours. I'm like, hell.
And it's a shame he's not well known, but I guess not as well known. But I guess we've already discussed. I guess the time at this probably sort of media would have been suppressed at a real quite conformist United States, and really a country that was kind of obsessed with time and punctuality and I say conformity. I feel like in many ways it's like when we spoke about the lottery, right?
Yeah.
You could see how something like this would be suppressed, but also I don't think Ellison helps himself too.
Yeah, I don't think suing everyone left, right and centre helps too. Yeah, you're going to make some enemies along the way when you do that.
Yeah. But I also think Ellison was someone who, I guess we spoke about Peter Watkins as well. Like, I think his morals were, like, you wouldn't say that Ellison ever sold out, would you?
No,
you could never accuse
Ellison.
Stuck to his guns. He stayed true to his principles, but that came at a cost, and that cost was, I guess he was labelled difficult. He probably lost out on projects. He burnt bridges with producers and editors and all that sort of stuff. But I think despite all that, whilst he probably wouldn't quite get the respect from the populace, only from the fact that a lot of people wouldn't know about him, I think he's widely respected amongst his peers, right?
Oh, absolutely, definitely, yeah. I guess when you compare it to Peter Watkins, it's a bit different because I know, like, when you're writing a book or a piece of literature, you're still reliant on a publishing firm to put it out. But like a film or a documentary is a lot harder to, as in, like, you need a lot, especially back then, you needed like a big corporation or a big studio to pop it out. Where, with Peter Watkins, because he was like calling out the hypocrisy of the BBC and things like that, it would have been, once you burn those bridges there, it's gone. Where I guess with publishing, you can kind of get it out in different ways. There's different books and magazines and different avenues in that kind of way.
And I guess he could kind of hide the message in a whimsical sort of story, couldn't he?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's not, and yeah, it's not. Yeah, I guess a novel. It's not because it's not visually. You don't see like death and decay in a book like you do when you see something live on a screen. It's a different kind of emotion and feeling. It is, isn't it? So
yeah.
But they are. Yeah, it's interesting to put those two together. They are very similar.
And both around at the same time as well.
Yeah. Unfortunately, he's no longer with us, Ellison. But I think Peter Watkins is still hanging around, isn't he?
Yeah, he's still hanging around. Yeah.
So,
but no, I'm interested. I'm enjoying Ellison's.
I'm continuing to do some more of his stuff actually.
Yeah. I like because it seems like a long time ago we did a Have No Mouth.
Oh no, yeah.
And it's good to go back to him, and I'm interested to do a few more. We've obviously had one of Chris's recommendations on there with The Boy and His Dog.
Yeah.
No, I do like his style. He just punches you in the face, really, doesn't he?
He does, yeah, he does.
Yeah, and makes no apologies for it.
And I think this one, and you can even tell when you do research on it, there's not a lot of information on this story as well. Like,
it's almost he lets his work do the talking, doesn't he?
No, in general though, like because everyone when you research I Have No Mouth, I Must Scream, you find a lot of references, people talking about it. Where this, I found a lot more, not as many like YouTube videos or essays.
You'd have a couple of read alouds or something on YouTube, wouldn't you? But
yeah, no, it's very like kind of bit of a hidden gem of his. Yeah, so I'm really glad that this got recommended to us, and yeah, it's one I definitely remember, this story. Yeah, and I highly recommend any listeners to give it a read for yourself. And I know we read a couple of passages from it, but like, yeah, take it in and read it.
It's only 8 or 9 pages.
Yeah, roughly 8 or 9 pages. It takes the audio book when I listened to it while reading it. I think it's about half an hour. It's very, very easy read. Yeah, and it's not like, even though it's got whimsical language, but it's not like the machine stops when you're looking up like what an epoch is and the vomitrons and vomitory, sorry, and you're like, what the hell is this? Yeah, no, it's pretty relevant language. So no, it's very well written. Makes you think about time in a different way than you ever thought before, and how we are slaves to it in some.
It makes me question it. Yeah, which I've never questioned it before.
But yeah, anything else you want to add before we wrap it up?
No. I'm hoping. I think we've done that one justice. So
yeah. And so what can listeners expect on next week's episode, Andrew?
So next week's episode, we are doing Liz's recommendation from the emails, which is
Demolition Man.
Demolition Man.
Oh, I can't wait for that. As I said, I think earlier, I only watched it once on the plane, so I'm really keen to see it again.
Yeah. It's definitely been. I reckon it's been at least 10 years for me on this, but yes, I am really looking forward to this one.
That should be good fun. Yeah.
We like these ones. Yeah. We like these ones on Dystopedia.
Yeah, it's good fun. Yeah. And yeah, as always, guys, you can follow us at Dystopedia Pod on Instagram and Tumblr. Shoot us through an email at info@dystopediapodcast.com. We are Dystopedia Podcast on YouTube, so comment, like, ring the bell, all those great things, and leave a comment, give any feedback, suggestions, and on behalf of myself and Andrew, we'll catch you next week.
See you next week.